Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second to throw. In time!
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Yesterday afternoon was one to forget for the Blue Jays, despite a solid start from Yariel Rodriguez and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extending his hit streak to 22 games. The Blue Jays got shut out by the Athletics, tallying only 2 hits total on the afternoon in a 1-0 loss. But Toronto still has a chance to take the series with a win in today's rubber match against Oakland. Welcome, everybody, to the Sportsnet Radio Network. Eric Smith and former Major Leaguer Chris LaRue with you, alongside host Show Ali, producer Nick Blackmore, and technical directors Tom Young and Andrew Adams. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Sydney and North Sydney, Nova Scotia. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. Righty Chris Bassitt takes to the hill for the Jays today, facing lefty from Oakland, J.P. Sears. It's the Blue Jays and Athletics, and the first pitch is right around the corner. You're listening to Blue Jays baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app, sportsnet.ca, and across the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call them.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's almost time for our next Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto campaign here on Toronto Sports Insider. Even the dogs are excited upstairs. August 12th is the start of our next campaign. We did awesome things as a community back in the hockey playoffs for the Leafs. Let's do it again. Obviously, once it starts, I will post the link in the chat, but your help is greatly appreciated. Let's change the world, one insider at a time. Thanks, TSI community. We'll see you back in the chat.
Behold, the mightiest assembly ever witnessed. We are all gathered in the darkness. Together we can be the... Behold, the...
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
The 2024 Training Camp Tour rolls on.
Focus on the football, fellas. Focus, focus.
And SiriusXM NFL Radio brings you down to the field for an all-access pass to your favorite team.
You do your best to put yourself in position to get the result you want.
From the preseason right through Super Bowl 59, hear every game on SiriusXM.
Touchdown!
Hear every stop of the 2024 Training Camp Tour on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The UFC is on SiriusXM. Hear all the action live from the Octagon every weekend on SiriusXM Fight Nation Channel 156.
Radio Network.
Welcome inside Rogers Center. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you, getting you set for the first pitch today between the Athletics and Blue Jays, the rubber match of this 3-game series after Toronto took it on Friday night 3-1. They lose yesterday afternoon 1-0, only 2 hits for the Blue Jays, so certainly hoping for more from their offense this afternoon in this ball game, and we'll go over to Chris LaRue in a second for the starting lineups. But in fact, you know what? I'm going to go to you right now before I even go to the standings, because I want to find out from you what happened with the offense yesterday, because this to me looked like the offense that we saw a month, 2 months ago that just couldn't muster anything. You get a solid start from Yariel Rodriguez. 2 hits. One of them was like a flare to right field by Ernie Clement that barely was a hit. Otherwise, we're talking about Vladdy really getting the only legit hit of the day, and Toronto got nothing going at any point.
And Vladdy really didn't even hit that ball very hard either. I think it's very simple. Watching that whole game, the Blue Jays were swinging at pitches that they normally don't swing at. Vlad was even swinging at pitches that he hasn't really swung at since the beginning of the season. You lay off those sliders off the plate, you lay off those elevated fastballs, and we'll see a very different result today.
Oh, is that like a guarantee?
Very simple. I said it was very simple.
Okay. You said we will see a different result today, so I'm going to hold you to that. That means there needs to be at least 3 hits and 1 run. We're about 2-3 minutes away from first pitch with the A's and the Jays. And it gives us a moment to take a look at the Bet365 standings. Download the Bet365 app and get today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. The Orioles hold down sole possession of first place in the American League East at 70-48. The Yankees now a game back. The Red Sox in third, 7.5 back. They're just 5-5 over their last 10. The Rays now come in an even 500 at 58-58. And the Blue Jays at 54-63. I'm calling it here. You just put out a guarantee on today. I can do this because I've only got a handful of games left and nobody's going to hold me to this.
This is your last home game.
Last home game, yep. Last home game. The Blue Jays will not finish in last place in the American League East.
All right. I believe that. I think there's not an incredible chance, but I think there's definitely a good chance that could happen. We've seen a lot of good things from this team recently.
Well, and yesterday would have helped. But I digress. Today they're getting at least 1 run and 3 hits, according to Chris LaRue.
All right.
Maybe more. All right, we've got a few moments still until first pitch. The teams haven't even taken to the field, so why don't I toss it over to you for the starting lineups?
Well, thank you, Eric, for your last home game of the 2024 season. What a sad day for Blue Jays radio.
You'll be in good hands still, folks. Don't worry.
I know. For the Oakland A's, leading off is Lawrence Butler. He'll be in right field. Brent Rooker is DHing. He'll bat second. J.J. Bleday will play center field and bat third. In the cleanup spot is Seth Brown. He'll be at first base. Quebec native Abraham Toro will play third and bat fifth. Zach Geloff will bat sixth and play second base. Behind the dish is Kyle McCann. He'll bat seventh. Batting eighth is Daz Cameron. He'll be in left field. And batting ninth is Max Schumann. He'll be at shortstop. On the mound for the Oakland A's is J.P. Sears. He has an ERA of 4.35 and a record of 9-8. For the Toronto Blue Jays, leading off is George Springer. He'll be in right field. Batting second is Dalton Varsho. He'll be in center field. DHing and batting third is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Cleaning up for the Jays and behind the plate is Alejandro Kirk. Batting fifth is Ernie Clement. He'll be at shortstop. At first base, batting sixth is Spencer Horowitz. In left field, batting seventh is Davis Schneider. Leo Jimenez will be at second base and bat eighth. And batting ninth is Luis De Los Santos. He'll be at third base. On the bump for the Blue Jays is Chris Bassitt.
And Bassitt comes in with a 9-10 record, a 3.95 ERA, and he's walking out to the mound right now with that blue 40 on the back of the white jersey. The Blue Jays in the home whites today, the pants and the shirts. And Oakland in all gray. And as Chris told us yesterday, the number one uniforms in professional sports.
No, I specifically
Just
meant the green tops,
okay, all
the
right.
gray pants, or you can mix in the white pants, and then the yellow kind of green stripe around the socks. I mean, it's hard to beat that. Not iconic, but not the most iconic, but pretty iconic in professional sports.
It's a good look, no doubt. And I'm interested to see, and you brought this up the other day, what the Athletics ultimately do when they move officially to Las Vegas. And if they keep the same color scheme or if they go different, we shall see. And in fact, next year is when they start playing already in another city, as they will relocate for a couple of years to Sacramento before they ultimately make their permanent move to Vegas.
Yeah, and I've actually played in Sacramento. It's a nice stadium. It's a good city. It's going to be tough for big leaguers to play in that environment for a full season. I think they're going to be there for 2 seasons, two or 3 full seasons. That'll be very tough for big leaguers to be in a 7,000 to 10,000, I believe, seat stadium. I mean, we saw it during COVID. We saw it with the Jays had to play in Buffalo. They had to play in Tampa. It's a grind. It really is, and it'll be interesting to see how the Oakland A's perform in Sacramento.
We're just about set to go here at Rogers Center. The roof is closed today, and that kind of bothers me because I like this place when the roof is open.
It's one of the best. With the roof open, it's one of the best places in Major League Baseball.
That said, I also am bothered by rain delay, so I will take the roof being closed and make sure that we get this game in, because was it not a week ago today? It was a week ago today with the nearly 2-hour rain delay in the 8th inning in New York, that really kind of messed up with everybody's schedules on last Sunday afternoon/evening. So there's been rain in the area in southern Ontario and specifically in Toronto. It's been kind of off and on. Somebody's probably driving right now saying, hey, it's sunny out. Come on, open up the roof. But
well, we can't see.
There might be rain coming in about an hour, so whatever. We're going to be playing under the roof tonight. And we are set to go here as Lawrence Butler steps up, the right fielder for the A's, batting .241 and hitting from the left side. In fact, 4 of the first 5 batters for the A's will be hitting from that left side. And the first pitch from Bassitt is delivered in for a strike at 1:40 Eastern Time. It's an 0-1 count to Butler. Already a Let's Go Blue Jays chant starting down in the lower level. And strike 2 delivered from Bassitt. Quickly ahead, 0-2 on the curveball, clocked at 70. Because of the rain in the area, the Blue Jays right around 11:20 this morning, 11:30. The pitch from Bassitt is sent into right field, and that's going to be a fair ball just inside the line. It's into the corner, a long run for Springer. He's over to pick it up. He'll toss it into second, but it's a stand-up double for Butler, and a tough way for Bassitt to start after getting ahead 0-2.
Well, Bassitt really loves to elevate that cutter up and in to lefties. He didn't quite get it up and in enough. Actually, they were trying to go away with that cutter. He throws that thing on the inner third about thigh high, and Lawrence Butler ripped that thing down the line for a leadoff double.
And I was starting to say around 11:20, 11:30 this morning, the Blue Jays shut down, and understandably so, rightfully so, shut down all of the stuff around the stadium for Junior J Sunday with all of the inflatables and the games and everything else because of the rain, which forced a ton of people to come inside early. So the dome is already packed right now. You can tell it's going to be close to a sellout today, as a lot of people just got in early and don't want to be stuck outside standing in lines or kind of milling around Rogers Center. They want to get inside quick. You can always tell in the 500 levels here what the crowd's going to be like when you see the upper deck pretty stuffed. First pitch is fouled off by Brent Rooker, and he was the scoring yesterday, period. And he sends a hot shot back to Bassitt. It goes off Bassitt's foot over to first. Now Horowitz picks it up and tries to fling it behind his back. Not a smart play by Spencer, as Butler went from second to third, and then after Horowitz tried to just do this circus shot behind his back, hoping to find Bassitt at first, Butler comes around to score. Again, not a great decision from Horowitz, and Oakland quickly takes a 1-0 lead.
No, I think Spencer Horowitz will tell you right now that he should not have even attempted to make that play. That ball goes off of Chris Bassitt's foot. Unfortunate for him, because that would have been a ground ball right at Leo Jimenez at second base. But what was Spencer Horowitz doing, trying to flip that ball behind him? Lawrence Butler comes in to score pretty easily from third base.
He looked like he was outside at the Junior J Sunday, trying to do one of those games or something out there. Tough break for the Blue Jays here, and quickly down in a 1-0 hole. First pitch coming in to J.J. Bleday, no good. Ball 1, 1-0 count. Bleday batting .239 with a runner now at first. That's Rooker, as Butler has already come around to score after his leadoff double. Top of the first inning, 1-0 Oakland with none out.
And realistically, there should be a guy on third base and 1 out and no runs scored. Tough break for the Blue Jays with that ball going off of Chris Bassitt's foot.
By the way, Bassitt seems no worse for the wear, folks. Trainers didn't even come out. He seems absolutely fine as he delivers the pitch in, and it's rocketed to right field, and it's up and over the wall into the Oakland bullpen, and J.J. Bleday just hit his 14th home run of the season, registered RBIs 39 and 40, and Oakland now leads Toronto 3-0. They have outscored their first 2 games in the first 3 batters of this game.
Well, that was just a very hittable sinker from Chris Bassitt. They were trying to go away with this thing again. Kind of leaks over the middle, and that sinker at 92 was right down the middle. J.J. Bleday drills that thing over the bullpen in right field, and it is 3-0 Oakland with nobody out here in the first inning.
All right, hit the reset button for Chris Bassitt and deal now with Seth Brown. Another left-handed bat, the first baseman for the A's. First time we've seen him in this series. batting .213 on the season with 10 home runs. And the 0-1 pitch comes in. No good. Ball one. It's 1-1. If you're just tuning in, again, it's 3-0 Oakland with none out here in the top of the first inning. And that pitch just came inside big time, and it actually hit Brown. The sound that it made it sound like it went off the bat, but it was thrown so hard that it actually made the sound of the ricochet off the padding, off that elbow pad, I believe. Yep, the elbow pad on the right arm of the lefty, Seth Brown.
And that's almost where they were trying to throw that pitch. I mentioned earlier that Chris Bassitt loves to come up and in at the hands with that cutter. Just kind of pulled it a little bit too far, and it clipped Seth Brown on that elbow protection. Seth Brown actually was just activated from the paternity list yesterday. So welcome back, Seth Brown, HBP.
And still none out now, with Brown heading down to first and Canadian Abraham Toro stepping in. Another lefty bat. Toro playing at third base today. Batting .246 coming into the ball game. In fact, I won't take credit for this one. It was just thrown up on the stat monitor there by Sportsnet Stats on the TV side of things. The two pitchers today, Sears and Bassitt, are both in the top 4 in Major League Baseball for hit batters. And now a bunt laid down the third base line, but it drifts foul as De Los Santos almost playing at that shortstop spot way off the bag. Oakland trying to take advantage of that, but Toro missed with the bunt attempt, and the count sits at 1-1.
And sometimes you can't really chalk that up to being wild or not really having command. Those are just two guys that pitch on the inside part of the plate. If you like to pitch on the inside part of the plate, chances are you'll probably hit some batters.
The 1-1 pitch. It's flared toward foul territory right in front of the Blue Jay dugout. But again, because De Los Santos so far off the bag, no chance to get to that one. It wasn't really hit that hard. Zero chance for him to get there. But Toro is now down 1-2.
Chris Bassitt is about to throw his 15th pitch of the ball game. Still hasn't gotten an out yet.
The 1-2 pitch. There's the out, the first one of the ball game. A strikeout for Bassitt, one away.
That was tough. That was his best pitch out of those 15. A sinker that started off the plate inside and ran right over the inside third. Abraham Toro just says thank you and walks back to that dugout. That's a great pitch at 93.
This brings up Zach Geloff, the second baseman for Oakland, batting .195. Again, Brown at first with one down, and Geloff gets underneath one. It's sent deep into left center, and it's up and over the wall as well. 5-0 Oakland. 2 home runs in the first inning, and Chris Bassitt is getting rocked.
Well, he's leaving a few pitches over the heart of the plate, and this Oakland A's team, we've mentioned a few times in this series, they have a lot of power. Zach Geloff, he's only hitting .195, but he just hit his 15th home run of the season. That was a spinning slider, a hanging slider over the middle of the plate, and he just drilled it.
Well, I hope you're right about the Blue Jay offense today, because they're going to need it. Down 5-0 in the first inning, and they're still only one away as Kyle McCann steps in. Yet another lefty bat. First pitch, good for a strike with the sinker clocked at 91.
I wonder if J.P. Sears is sitting in that dugout thinking, okay, that's enough. Let's get going, boys. It's been sitting in that dugout for about 20 minutes now.
And Bassitt just came way inside, contorting out of the way. McCann takes ball one. McCann, a .276 average in 40 games, 4 home runs. The 1-1 pitch is good for a strike on the outside edge. The curveball got in there, 1-2. First inning is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. The 1-2, up high, 2-2. I have a feeling we're going to hear from Show Ali a few times today. I think there's going to be more than a couple bullpen visits. if this keeps up. Blue Jays down 5-0 in the top of the first inning. The 2-2 pitch up high. It's 3-2. Bassitt laboring right now. And any energy in the building has been sucked out of it right now. The 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and there's some energy as the crowd responds to the second strikeout of the inning. There's finally 2 away.
Well, that was another great pitch from Chris Bassitt. One of those slow breaking balls, 71 miles an hour. Kyle McCann was way out in front for strike 3 and out number 2.
This brings up the number 8 hitter, Daz Cameron, playing in left field today. The right-handed bat of Cameron getting set for Bassitt. First pitch, no good, outside, ball 1. Bassitt gets the sign from Kirk. Here's the pitch. And that one missing outside. 2-0.
Daz Cameron, of course, the son of legend Mike Cameron, out of Eagles Landing Christian in McDonough, Georgia.
And he fouls this one off down the right field line into the stands. Still ahead in the count, though, 2-1. Bassitt stepping off the rubber, taking a number of deep breaths, trying to settle himself here as he has dug himself and his team quite a hole right now. 5-0 Oakland in the top of the first inning. The 2-1 pitch. And that came inside. Cameron twists out of the way of that one. 3-1. And already Pete Walker on the phone down to the bullpen. And I can see bodies stirring right now. The 3-1 pitch fouled off. Up and over the netting behind the backstop. Count is now full.
You could tell that Chris Bassitt doesn't feel great today. He's grinding. You said laboring, but I like to use the word grinding. Like he's really trying extra hard on every single pitch.
And the 3-2 is sent on a pretty good ride to left field. It's over the head of Schneider, off the wall. Davis plays it well, fires it into second, but a head-first slide in plenty of time. Daz Cameron with the 2-out double, and the inning continues for Oakland. It's Cameron's third double of the season.
Just another hanger from Chris Bassitt. They were trying to go away with this pitch. It was a slow breaking ball. Daz Cameron waits back on that thing. That thing was right down the middle, and he drilled it off the wall in left field. Davis Schneider did a good job getting it off the wall and throwing it into second base, but this is a big situation here. You got to stop that guy from second base.
So Walker comes out now, Pete Walker, to chat with Chris Bassitt. The entire infield is in right now. And, you know, we already discussed this, Chris, but for folks that have maybe just tuned in, 5-0 Oakland with a man on second and 2 out. We're still only in the top of the first. And not to lay it on one guy, it's certainly not one guy. Bassitt has not pitched well thus far. But you go back to that play with Spencer Horwitz, that wild sort of toss behind his back, no look that goes flying. You mentioned earlier it could have been and should have been 1 out, man on third. Who knows if the Blue Jays are now out of this inning? Who knows how things play out differently? But Bassitt since then has been just trying to play catch-up.
Yeah, it seems like the wheels have been spinning ever since that play. He's made a lot of pitches over the heart of the plate, though. That doesn't help.
Max Schumann now steps in. Bassitt steps off the rubber. Schumann steps out of the box. Both now get set to reset as Schumann comes back in, digs in. Bassitt back on the rubber, looks in at the sign. Quick glance out at second at Cameron. And the first pitch outside to Schumann, 1-0 count. The ninth batter of this inning, Max Schumann, batting .249. And Bassitt would love to get out of this thing right here. This top half of the inning has already taken just shy of 15 minutes, and Bassitt just threw his 30th pitch of the inning. And he's down in the count 2-0 to Schumann.
And Ryan Yarbrough out there in the Blue Jays bullpen has been warming up for 4 or 5 minutes now. He's probably pretty hot.
The 2-0 pitch outside might have been a little low as well. And now 3-0. Bassitt looks in for clarification. Home plate umpire Andy Fletcher said, yeah, it was down low and outside. And Bassitt just kind of nodded his head and gets set for the 3-0 delivery. Another glance at second. Here's the pitch. That one's in for a strike. The sinker at 91. It's 3-1.
Really grinding right now. That last sinker was 91 miles an hour. I know that was probably a get-me-over sinker, but when he's feeling good, he's probably 93, 95.
Swing and a miss. It's now 3-2. Came back with the cutter, and now a chance to get out of this inning. Crowd trying to rally on Bassitt and the Jays right here. And now Schumann asks for time and steps out of the box. Blue Jays down 5-0 here in the top of the first inning. 5 runs off 5 hits, including 2 home runs. Both of them 2-run homers. Max Schumann, the Oakland shortstop, at the plate. A 3-2 count. Here's the pitch. He fouls that one off. We'll do it again. No off day for the Blue Jays tomorrow. It will be a evening flight to California, getting set for 3 against the Angels beginning tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Time. The 3-2 pitch, way outside. He lost him. And a free pass to Schumann brings us back to the top of the order, as Lawrence Butler will have his second at-bat of this first inning.
And John Schneider is really stirring down there in that dugout. You can tell he doesn't want to have to take Chris Bassitt out, but he's really thinking it through down there. Arms are crossed. Wheels are definitely spinning in Chris Bassitt's head as well as John Schneider's.
What would you do?
I would leave him in.
One more?
Only because it's Chris Bassitt. If it was anybody else, I think I would take him out.
The first pitch to Butler is in for a strike. Got him with the curveball. 0-1 count.
But he is really grinding. Pete Walker's now calling down to that bullpen, probably saying, is Ryan Yarbrough ready?
Bassitt looks out at second, turns, fires on the 0-1. Outside, it's 1-1. Lawrence Butler with the double in his first at-bat, which came about 17 minutes ago. Even in the count now, 1-1. Bassitt with the pitch, and it's sent into left field. Picked up by Davis Schneider. It's going to score one more. It's 6-0 Oakland, as Butler is already 2 for 2 in 1 inning.
And I think the biggest issue now is, as you can hear the boo birds, but Brent Rooker's coming up to the plate, a very powerful right-handed hitter. Do you want to bring in a soft-tossing lefty like Ryan Yarbrough to face him? I would imagine not. As you can see, John Schneider is not coming out to take out Chris Bassitt. That's probably the right call in this situation.
So Rooker steps up to the plate now with 29 home runs and 82 runs batted in. Already a base hit in this ballgame. This is his second at-bat of the inning. Bassitt approaching 40 pitches thrown in this inning. First pitch in for a strike, an 0-1 counts. Schumann at second, Butler at first. 2 down for Oakland, as they have scored 6 here in the first inning. Bassitt with the 0-1 pitch. Outside, it's 1-1.
I can't remember a time, at least recently, where a pitcher had to grind through an inning like this. Especially a veteran like Chris Bassitt. It's tough to watch.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch from Bassitt. And Rooker might have snapped his bat. It's out into left field, shallow. Making the grab is Davis Schneider, and that will finally do it. But Oakland scores 6, and it's now time for the Blue Jay offense to pick up their starter. Bottom of the first is next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Blue Jays against the A's matchup. Please make sure to hit that like button. Helps bring more people here into the chat. We've seen an uptick in the likes. We've been hitting the 60 range. Lately, that's been up from the 40s, so keep it up. Let's keep getting more likes. Please take a second to exit out of the chat and hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Go Jays, go.
Make the ballpark your office for the afternoon. Work from Dome, 3:07 weekday starts. Let's touch base. Check out ticket options on bluejays.com/workfromdome.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Sprinting back, Varsho curling at the track. He leaps, and he made the catch!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. J.P. Sears, the lefty on the mound for Oakland, getting set for the first batter of the ballgame, George Springer. First batter, of course, for the Blue Jays. We've already seen a whole bunch of batters for the A's as they sent 11 to the plate in the top of the first inning and scored 6 runs. A 6-0 Oakland lead before Toronto even steps to the plate. Springer now ahead in the count, 1-0. Sears comes back with the pitch, and that one too low. It's 2-0. All right, start the comeback right now. Let's go. Sears looks in, gets the sign from Kyle McCann, his catcher. The 2-0 pitch, and that's a strike. Got Springer with the sinker. It's 2-1.
Well, that comeback is actually doable because J.P. Sears gave up a 7 spot on July 24th against Houston. Just saying.
All right. So you're telling me there's a chance. 2-2 count now to Springer as he takes one that he thought was inside. But home plate umpire Andy Fletcher says, no, that was good. It's now 2-2. And we're getting shots from our Sportsnet TV friends of inside the dugout. Pete Walker in a long conversation with Chris Bassitt. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Springer sits down, 1 away.
Well, Chris Bassitt is definitely coming back out to pitch the second inning. Ryan Yarbrough has sat down. He's no longer throwing on that mound in the Blue Jays bullpen, but he'll have a much shorter leash this inning, that's for sure.
Well, shout out to Show Ali, who passed me along the nice little stat here. Well, Chris Bassitt's shortest start of the season before today. And we'll see if this ends up being his shortest one today. I'll give you the numbers in a second. The first pitch from Sears to Varsho, inside, ball 1. That start for Bassitt, April 26th against the Dodgers. 2 2/3 of an inning, or innings. 9 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. And the 1-0 pitch is good for a strike. The slider slid in there, 1-1.
It seems to me like Chris Bassitt either dominates or just gets rocked. I could be wrong. I'm not looking at the stats or anything like that, but it just seems like sometimes that's the case.
Well, I mean, to that point, he came into today 9-10 with a 3.95 ERA. It's a decent ERA, I suppose, but the record, not great. Dalton Varsho ahead in the count, 2-1. The pitch from Sears is flared out to shallow left down the third base line, and an over-the-shoulder catch in foul territory by Abraham Toro. Nifty catch there for Toro. 2 away.
That was actually a really tough catch. I thought that ball was going to drop. Abraham Toro goes out, catches that ball almost snow cone style in foul territory down the left field line. That's a tough play.
So this brings up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with 2 down in the bottom of the first. Blue Jays trailing 6-0. Vladdy riding the high of the 22-game hit streak. And he squares to bunt for a second, pulls it back, but still takes a strike, down 0-1. Vladdy hitting .322.
That was certainly just for show.
Oh, 100%. I didn't think Vladdy would be bunting. Swing and a miss, down 0-2. If Vladdy were to bunt, I'd make you go down and run with him.
I'd pull a hammy.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Sears. And Guerrero fouls that one off back into the netting. We'll do it again at 0-2. Guerrero, during the hit streak, again over 22 games, is hitting .494. And he sends a hot shot to short, backhand stab by Schumann, throw to first, gets Guerrero, and the Blue Jays go down 1-2-3. So Toronto with a lot of work to do this afternoon as they trail 6-0 heading to the second inning. Chris Bassitt is walking out from the dugout to the mound, and the top of the second is up next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
2K your way with SiriusXM channels designed to shift your timeline. Jump into the pit with hard rock and new metal on Turbo, Channel 41.
It's just one of those days.
Go hard all day with zeros and tens hip-hop on Flex 2K, Channel 49. Wheeze in the track. Or sink into your feels with alternative anthems on Alt 2K. Listen to all of these and more 2000s channels across SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
The battle for regional soccer supremacy is on in the Leagues Cup.
Cucho Hernandez, it is him yet again.
And your home for all the top matches is SiriusXM FC.
It's a masterpiece from Andre Pierre Gignac.
Hear all your favorite teams from Major League Soccer and Mexico's Liga MX fight for the right to be crowned the King of North America.
Miami, Leagues Cup champions.
Keep up with the Leagues Cup on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Be the most informed player in your fantasy football league by listening to the experts on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
Hear player rankings, position breakdowns, and expert drafts.
There is no bigger value today than Dak Prescott.
Going deep down the right side, got a man, caught, touchdown Cowboys!
The road to a fantasy football championship begins with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Fantasy football players, learn winning strategies right now on Fantasy Sports Radio to help you draft a winning team on Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Top of the second inning is presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19+. Play responsibly. Ontario only. First pitch from Bassitt to J.J. Bleday, one of the 2 home runs on the day. Bleday had the 2-run shot last inning and was the one that got the scoring going, at least in a big-time way. They already had 1 across the plate, and then Bleday made it 2 and 3 with his 2-run homer. He's quickly ahead in the count, 2-0. Chris Bassitt takes a deep breath and delivers. 3-0.
Well, the most obvious thing that Chris Bassitt has to do in this inning and going forward is throw strike one. Then he can kind of elevate and bury some pitches, but he has yet to be really in command with that first pitch at all today.
And already the Boo Birds coming out again after the first batter of this second inning. Bassitt now will get set for Seth Brown. With a man on, Bassitt has thrown 45 pitches in this game. And this one is sent sky high, and it's kind of drifting toward left field. Camping underneath it to make the grab is Davis Schneider, 1 away.
And that was actually a pretty good pitch. A sinker down and away in the strike zone. A tough pitch to hit. That's the location, the pitch type that you need to make on pitch number 1, and Seth Brown just hit a weak fly ball to left field.
Chris LaRue and Eric Smith with you in the Timber Mart broadcast booth, alongside host Sho Ali, technical director Tom Young. Bassitt with a look over to first. Turns, fires, and the first pitch to Toro is good for a strike. Got him with the sinker, 0-1 count. Abraham Toro struck out in the first inning. Struck out looking, actually. Bassitt comes set. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, and a nasty curveball. Toro down 0-2.
You mentioned that Abraham Toro is a Canadian in his previous at-bat, but you failed to mention, more specifically, he's from Quebec.
Sorry.
I am also from Quebec. That's why I'm a little
I apologize
annoyed by
to
that.
the Toro and LaRue families. I heard you yesterday trying to, was it maybe with our colleague Larry Milson, the great veteran writer? You were talking about Langoliers and trying to figure out if he was from Montreal or from Quebec.
No, we were just
Langolais or something.
We were trying to figure out if there's some French roots. That's it.
I think I stick to bonjour and au revoir. The 0-2 no good, and a quick throw down to first by Kirk. Diving back into the bag is J.J. Bleday. Toro will dig back in now, down in the count 1-2.
Of course, the American pronunciation of Langoliers is Langoliers, which is also annoying to me.
That one ripped foul down the first base line. Toro will dig back in at 1-2. So how many times in the U.S. do you get LaRux?
I would say 8 out of 10 times.
Wow.
It's pretty high. Also in Canada as well.
Really?
Which is surprising, yeah.
6-0 Oakland. 6-0. And this one sent to right field. Tons of room for George Springer to get underneath it. Makes the grab, 2 away. And the Blue Jays will try to get out of this inning without letting anything else get on the board. Zach Geloff coming up, though, and he had a 2-run homer in the first inning as well. Both he and Bleday hit 2-run shots in that first inning, a part of the 6-0 20-minute top half of the first.
Well, Chris Bassitt is about to throw his 53rd pitch of the ballgame, but he has looked much better in this second inning.
And that first pitch into Geloff outside, ball 1. Geloff's average up to 197 after that home run. And now Bleday takes off. Kirk with the throw down to second, and he gets him. The tag placed by Jimenez, and Bleday is thrown out at second base. So the Blue Jays get out of the inning unscathed, heading to the bottom of the second, down 6-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their
Hey, Insiders. Thank you all so much for being subscribers to this awesome community and this channel, Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you to each and every one of you. 33,000 plus. This community keeps growing like crazy, and I can't thank you enough. If you're new here, let's help that community continue to grow. Please hit that subscribe button and become an insider today. Let's get back to the baseball, but make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss it when we go live for any Toronto sports team every single game. See you guys back in the chat. Cheers, Insiders.
Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Bases loaded. The 0-2 swung on and missed. Strike 3.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you, getting set to start the bottom half of the second inning. Alejandro Kirk to lead things off for the Blue Jays. Toronto trailing 6-0. Oakland getting all 6 in the first inning. And now Kirk will try to get things rolling for Toronto. It's J.P. Sears, the lefty, on the mound for Oakland, and the first pitch into Kirk is outside, ball 1. This is your final chance to join in on Jays Cares 50-50 jackpot. The grand prize is over $443,000, and it could be yours in just a few hours. Kirk sends this one to short on a couple of bounces. It's picked up by Schumann. Over to first to record the out. There's one away.
Up next, number 28, Ernie Clement.
Let's welcome our future announcer, presented by Rogers, 12-year-old Michael from Calgary, who just brought Ernie Clement to the plate. And I'll finish off that Jays Care promo. BlueJays.com/5050 to get your tickets before 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern tonight in Ontario and Nova Scotia only. Again, the jackpot sitting at $443,835. Ernie Clement takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0 count to Clement, hitting .275. And that pitch came a little inside, but caught the inside edge. Good for a strike, 1-1.
And we won't really see anything overpowering from J.P. Sears. He throws a four-seam fastball at 92, a sweeper, a change, a sinker, and a slider. Pretty standard stuff from J.P. Sears.
The 1-1. Clement looks at it. Thought it was down low, but from our vantage point, it certainly looked like it caught the bottom part of that zone on that bottom edge. With the sweeper, it's now 1-2. Sears nods his head, gets the sign from Kyle McCann, his catcher. Here comes the 1-2 pitch from the lefty Sears. Outside, 2-2. The crowd trying to get things going here, as it's going to be the long comeback bid this afternoon for the Blue Jays as they dug themselves a deep hole in the first inning. Oakland up 6-0 here, bottom of the second. The 2-2 pitch. And Clement gets underneath it, sends it into foul territory down the right field line. First baseman Seth Brown back to make the grab. 2 away.
Next up, number 48, Spencer Horwitz.
Again, that's 12-year-old Michael from Calgary. I was digging the Mariah Carey as well. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. We saw somebody from Saskatoon yesterday and Calgary today. Tom laughing. He loves Mariah Carey too.
How fun would that be, coming here with your family, maybe on vacation, I'm just assuming, but you get to do that, the future announcer, all the way from here from Calgary. It's a good time.
The only bad thing is a 6-0 hole.
Wow.
So now hopefully Michael can be the one that ignites this Blue Jay offense. Maybe it'll start with 2 out with Spencer Horwitz. The Blue Jays have been fantastic this season with 2-out rallies. And maybe Spencer can get it going right here as he's even in the count, 1-1. I've been impressed with our junior Jays announcers, though. Just hold off like at least 10 or 15 years, though. I don't want to be losing my job. The 1-1 to Horwitz. That's in for a strike. Nice looking pitch right there from Sears with the sweeper, 1-2.
We failed to mention early on in this ballgame that J.P. Sears has been dominant his last 2 starts. He's only given up 1 earned run over his last 14 innings pitched.
And this one fouled off by Horwitz. Will do it again at 1-2, and that's obviously of note considering most people would look down and go, oh, he's 9-8 with a 4.35 ERA. But what have you done for me lately? It's been pretty good.
Yes, sir. one of the most important things in baseball. How hot are you right now?
And the 1-2 pitch is high outside, just missing by about a ball's width. The count now sits at 2-2. Sears looks in at the sign. Lefty on lefty battle right here against Horowitz. The pitch. Down low, 3-2. With Davis Schneider on deck. Sears comes set. The 3-2 pitch. And Horowitz dribbles it down the first base line. It's scooped up with ease by Seth Brown, who keeps it himself. Steps on the bag and sits down the Blue Jays as they go in order yet again. 6-0 Oakland. As we head to the third inning, you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
If you're looking for a fun day, did you know the day before Monday? It's Junior J Sunday. You can paint your face, come and meet Ace and run base to base. On Junior J Sunday, so many things to do. You can bring your crew and even mom and dad too. Junior J Sunday.
Sundays are for Junior Jays. Get to the ballpark early to enjoy outdoor activities before continuing the fun inside while you cheer on the Blue Jays.
If you're feeling the song, grab your dad or mom, visit BlueJays.com. Junior J Sunday.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Runner going, throw down to second. They got him.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Sydney and North Sydney, Nova Scotia. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. Bassitt in with the first pitch to Geloff. It's good for a strike. 0-1 count to Zach Geloff. He homered in his first at-bat back in the first inning. He was at the plate in the second inning as well, but he was standing there when J.J. Bleday was thrown out trying to steal second base. So Geloff gets a chance to come back up and lead off this third inning. Now down 0-2 after fouling off that pitch, the sinker from Bassitt. Bassitt looks in at the sign. Here comes the 0-2 delivery, and it's sent out on a couple of bounces to short, picked up by Clement, and over to first to record the out. One away.
Well, Chris Bassitt is a completely different guy the last inning and a third than he was in that first inning. You could tell that he had no idea where that release point was. He was grinding through that inning, really struggling to make any kind of pitch. In the last inning and a third, he's been pretty efficient, pretty good. Those last three pitches were spot on.
Brings up Kyle McCann, the left-handed hitting catcher for the A's, and the first pitch from Bassitt is good for a strike. 0-1 count after that changeup from Bassitt.
And he has very clearly found that release point.
Hopefully the Blue Jay offense can now pick him up. Bassitt came way inside. McCann twists out of the way, 1-1. The 1-1. And that one fouled off on a curveball clocked at 71. A 1-2 count.
Hey, Mr. Weatherman, what are the chances we get this roof open?
If it were up to me, I'd crack the lid. I'd roll the dice and take a chance. But based on what I'm seeing on my little weather app, there are some clouds and some rain clouds in the area that could be coming over top of Rogers Center in about an hour. So I'm going to guess that the facilities folks don't want all their seats and screens getting wet. So I think the lid is going to stay closed, sadly.
That was an incredibly descriptive answer. I appreciate that. I really do.
You're welcome. You know, meteorologists like me, we like to take our job very seriously. 3-2 count now to McCann with one away here in the third inning. And he sends this one back foul, straight into the netting. We'll do it again at 3-2.
Chris Bassitt just threw his 63rd pitch of the ball game with one out here in the third inning.
Nobody up in the bullpen right now for the Blue Jays. Not that it's needed right now, but you've got to assume that maybe by next inning, based on the pitch count alone, we'll start to see some guys get loose. Swing and a miss. McCann just sat down. He got a piece, but a nice squeeze from Kirk. 2 away.
But we also were talking about this last inning. What have you done for me lately? And Chris Bassitt, although a small sample size over the last inning and 2/3, he's looked really good. Outside of that first inning, he has some of his best stuff of the season.
Brings up Daz Cameron. Cameron with a double in his first at-bat back in the first inning. The average up to 191. He ultimately came around to score. He was the 6th of the 6 Oakland runs, and that's where we stand right now, 6-0. Top of the third with 2 away. And the 0-1 pitch sent foul down the third base line. Nice snag there by the ball boy. He'll drop it under the net to a fan in that front row. And now Cameron down 0-2. Bassitt on the rubber. Nods his head at Alejandro Kirk. The leg kick, the delivery, swing and a miss. Cameron sits down, back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning. And we go to the bottom of the third, and we'll see if the Blue Jays can get their offense cooking. They trail 6-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The biggest names in NASCAR talk are now with SiriusXM.
Hey, this is Denny Hamlin, host of Action is Detrimental, driver of the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, and co-owner of 2311 Racing. Join me and my co-host Jared Allen every Monday for a recap of each NASCAR race.
Behold, the mightiest assembly ever witnessed. We are all gathered in the darkness. Together we can be the light. I call upon every crew. We need you all to join our fight for a new Sick Kids, and we need you now. Who's with us? Who is with us?
Are you with us, Insiders? Let's go. You heard the man. Let's donate some money to Sick Kids. Anything that you can is a huge help. Cheers, Insiders. Let's change the world.
We're back on the track Sunday,
5 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Cookout 400 from Richmond Raceway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah.
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Justin Turbin at your 24/7 home for hoops all year long is SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 and the SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
Radio Network.
Back at Rogers Center, Chris LaRue, Eric Smith with you as we get set for the bottom of the third. Davis Schneider to lead things off for Toronto. Blue Jays down 6-0. They have yet to record a hit, but maybe it'll start this inning. Sears with the first pitch to Schneider, swing and a miss. Down 0-1. Sears looks in at the sign from his catcher McCann and delivers the pitch too high. Schneider held off on that one. It's 1-1.
This is the inning where you have to score at least a couple of runs. If you want to sneak back in this ball game, you have to get 1 or 2 runs and slowly start to creep back, gain some confidence, some momentum to get back into this ball game.
The 1-1 pitch. Inside, down low, 2-1. Sears, the lefty, against the righty, Davis Schneider, who is almost on the plate. Really inside tight. Swings and misses at that 2-1 pitch, now even at 2-2. Schneider's average has dipped down to 208. I can't remember if we mentioned it yesterday on the air or off, but his drought without a home run has been lengthy. Swing and a miss. Schneider sits down. It's 7 up, 7 down for the Blue Jays as Leo Jimenez gets set to step on up. We are in the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Collect air miles on your next home improvement buys at Timber Mart. And hey, make it a double play by scoring even more air miles when you purchase with your Timber Mart credit card. For details, visit Timber Mart, Canada's building center. Leo Jimenez batting .231 on the season. And the first pitch from Sears is a little bit low, a little bit outside, 1-0 count. Sears with the leg kick and the delivery, and that one catches the inside edge with the changeup. It's 1-1. And this one sent up the middle, but Oakland had the shift on as the second baseman was almost right behind the bag. Zach Geloff picks that one up, throws over to first to record the out. 2 away. And this will bring up Luis de los Santos, still in search of his first career major league hit. The number 9 hitter, as Toronto has gone up 8 up, 8 down over the first 3 innings. 2 2/3 to be exact, as De Los Santos has a chance here to get things rolling with 2 away in the bottom of the 3rd. And the pitch from Sears in for a strike. The fastball clocked at 93.01. De Los Santos batting .243 in 28 games at Buffalo this year. The 0-1 pitch outside, 1-1.
Like you said, De Los Santos still in search of that first major league hit. He's 26 years old, 6'1", 160 pounds, from Dominican Republic. Made his debut on July 31st of this year.
The 1-1. And this one chopped down toward third, picked up by Toro on a couple of bounces, over to first to Seth Brown to record the out, and the Blue Jays have gone down in order in each of the first 3 innings. We head to the 4th with Oakland leading 6-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This is John Paul Morosi. Coming up on the next episode of The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Alan Trammell.
I felt like a little kid, and when you go into the Hall of Fame, there's nothing wrong with that. The respect that I have for my peers is something that I don't want to change.
The Road to Cooperstown airs Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89, and the all-new Sirius XM app. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your Sirius XM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on Sirius XM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. Sirius XM Sports. We're more than just a game.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on Sirius XM Channel 89 and every morning on the Sirius XM app.
Our goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's it for us.
Hear every stop of the 2024 training camp tour on NFL Radio Channel 88, the all-new Sirius XM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Back at Rogers Center, getting set to start the fourth inning. The Blue Jays down 6-0. Oakland getting all 6 in the first inning. Chris Bassitt has looked good since in the second and third, and he will hope to keep things rolling here in the fourth as he deals with Max Schumann, the number 9 hitter, the first batter of this fourth. Bassitt, since facing 11 batters in the first inning, has seen only 6 since. And Schumann quickly down 0-2 as he just swung and missed at that 0-1 pitch. Schumann batting .249. The 0-2 delivery is outside barely. Bassitt wanted that one, didn't get it from Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire. Our guy John Bacon is out at third. Jansen Visconti at second.
That's your guy.
And Mike Muchlinski at second. And the sweeper with a ton of action on that one. Outside, down in the dirt, 2-2.
There's such a big difference between Alejandro Kirk and really any other catcher that I've seen. He just barely moves that glove. When it comes to framing, he's just so good at it.
The 2-2 sent into right field. George Springer is on it, underneath it, and makes the snag one away.
And we were talking about that a lot yesterday with Brian Serven. Brian Serven is very obvious with when he tries to steal a pitch and frame that ball, but Alejandro Kirk's so subtle, so good as a pitcher. I mean, it's priceless to have a guy like that back there.
I want to ask you a question about that in a second here as Bassitt now gets set for Butler. It's down low in the dirt, 1-0. I'm assuming you can learn to be better. But even if you get better, does your reputation precede you if you weren't good at it already? The 1-0 pitch, down low, 2-0.
Well, it's funny you say that because you'd think in theory you could get better, but a guy like, and I hate to keep harping on this and burying this guy, but Brian Serven, who has been a catcher for a long time in the minor leagues, a little bit in the big leagues, someone has to have said to him in the past, hey, it's pretty obvious that you're trying to steal this strike. This pitch is nowhere near the strike zone. Let's kind of curb that a little bit. Let's tone it down a little bit. And he still hasn't done that.
The 3-0 pitch to Butler. In for a strike. Caught that outside edge with the sinker. It's 3-1. Butler is 2 for 2 in the ball game. Looking to get on again right here. Oakland leading 6-0 in the top of the fourth inning. And this one is sent out towards short past the diving third baseman, Luis De Los Santos, as the Jays had shifted over. And it's a 3-for-3 day for Lawrence Butler.
Yeah, Butler actually hit that ball where the shortstop would normally play straight up. De Los Santos was shifted kind of a third of the way in between second and third. And Ernie Clement, who's the shortstop today, was almost behind second base. That's a tough break. You can see Chris Bassitt actually shaking his head. I know exactly what he's thinking right now.
What's he thinking?
Clean it up. Why are we shifting?
First pitch into Rooker. Brent Rooker takes a strike and an 0-1 count. He had a single in the first inning and then flew out to left field to end the first inning. One of 2 batters, he and Butler, to get up to the plate twice in that top half of the first, where Oakland scored their 6 runs, and that's where we stand right now. 6-0 Athletics here in now the top of the fourth inning with a man on and 1 out. Lawrence Butler is that man at first. Rooker digs in, down 0-1. Here's the pitch as Butler takes off. Swing and a miss. Kirk throws down, and sliding in safely is Butler. The throw was right there, but it just couldn't beat the speed of Lawrence Butler.
Yeah, that was a perfect throw from Alejandro Kirk. A little sidearm, short arm throw, actually. A tough angle for him, but he made that throw right on the money. Lawrence Butler got a great jump off of Chris Bassitt. Alejandro Kirk has made 2 beautiful throws today.
And credit Butler for keeping his feet on the bag as the momentum of his headfirst dive, his slide, took him off the bag with his head and shoulders and his hands, but he kept that foot glued, planted to the bag to make sure that he stayed safe.
Knees and toes as well.
Knees and toes, yes. Want to do the song?
No, you just did it.
Well, as we're busy doing head and shoulders, knees and toes, Brent Rooker sits down with the strikeout. So put another one in the notch column there for the strikeout for Bassitt, his 5th, and now 2 away as he hopes to get out of this inning. Now dealing with J.J. Bleday, who sends one down to first, and it hops off the bag and up and over Horwitz. A brutal break for the Blue Jays as Butler comes around from second to score. It's 7-0 Oakland, and that should have been the end of the inning right there.
Yeah, that was out number 3, no doubt. That ball just unfortunately bounces off the bag and up near the right shoulder of Spencer Horwitz. He tried to olay that ball, but that is an almost impossible play for Spencer Horwitz. I don't think even the best first baseman makes that play.
And in fact, I take that back. I thought from our angle here, guess I got to check my prescription, that it hit the bag. It just took a nasty hop off a chunk of the dirt or something. It was about a foot off the bag at least, if not more. Either way, it's still a nasty hop and a horrible break for the Blue Jays, who now trail by a touchdown. 7-0 Oakland in the top of the 4th inning, and a 1-0 count to Seth Brown, the lefty batter. Looks at the next pitch, 2-0, as it was inside. Brown, the first baseman, will try to keep this inning going for Oakland with 2 away and now 1 in. Oakland has added to their lead. Another one sent down toward first, but into foul territory, and a great stab down there, down the right field line by the ball boy, who hands off a souvenir into the front row. And now Brown steps back into the box at 2-1. Six in the first, 1 here in the 4th. Oakland leading 7-0 as now Bassitt throws over to first, trying to keep Bleday honest. Fourth inning is presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. The 2-1 pitch, no good. Ball 3, and now 3-1 to Brown. Seth Brown. A chance to keep this inning going for Oakland. And this one sent hotly to center field. Tracking back, though, is Dalton Varsho. He gets to everything, makes the grab, and that does it. But Oakland gets one to add to their lead, 7-0, as we go to the bottom of the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Blue Jays are inviting you to work from Dome. Put it in your calendar. 307 weekday starts this season. You can work from Dome with friends or coworkers at Rogers Center. It's a game changer. Make the ballpark your office for the afternoon. Work from Dome, 307 weekday starts. Let's touch base. Check out ticket options on bluejays.com/workfromdome.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. and inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Out of here! Out of here! Davis Snyder wins it!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you from the Timbermark broadcast booth as we get set to start the bottom of the fourth inning with the Blue Jays trailing 7-0. Toronto has yet to register a hit. In fact, if we add it up to last night, the Blue Jays have now gone 12 innings without a run and only 2 hits. I mean, I could go back to Friday night as well and talk about a scoreless and a hitless streak, but if I'm not mistaken, that home run, that solo shot for Spencer Horwitz on Friday came in the 8th inning, and of course they didn't bat in the 9th, so I guess it would still be 12 straight scoreless innings and only 2 hits through their last 12 innings. Hopefully George Springer can change that right here as he just took the 0-1 pitch for a ball. 1-1. A dribbler toward third. It's scooped up and thrown over quickly to first by Abraham Toro to record the out. 1 away.
Well, unfortunately for the Blue Jays, J.P. Sears has now gone 17 1/3 innings and only given up 1 earned run.
That's less than ideal if you're a Blue Jay fan. As Dalton Varsho comes up. Varsho popped out to third base in his first at-bat. That was the one that was down the line and a difficult catch for Abraham Toro to make as Varsho swings at the first pitch and rips one foul down the right field line into the netting. Down in the count, 0-1. And he gets underneath this one, sends it on a pretty good ride to right field, and it's up and over. No, it's off the wall. They're calling it a home run. It's a late call there from the first base umpire, Jansen Visconti. He initially just signaled fair and then finally gave the signal with the finger twirl. You know what? We're not going to be using this clip anyways for a highlight because the Jays need to get at least 5 or 6 more. So I'll wear the goat horns on the delayed home run call. But again, the late call from Visconti, the umpire. It's a solo shot from Varsho, and the Blue Jays do get on the board 7-1. First pitch swinging, Vladimir Guerrero trying to extend that hit streak, but he's going to have to wait till his next at-bat as he flies out to right field. Lawrence Butler makes the grab, and there are 2 away.
Well, that home run from Dalton Varsho was J.P. Sears' first mistake of the ball game. They tried to go away with that slider, left a spinning slider over the middle, and I believe Dalton Varsho hit it off a camera out in right field just above that right field line. Wall.
Well, maybe that's why Visconti wasn't so sure right away. Our guy Bacon wouldn't have made that call. He would have been on it. John Bacon at third base today. Let's see if we can get a rocket down the left field line, and Bacon will be right on top of it. 7-1 Oakland. Toronto trying to mount the comeback today after giving up 6 of the 7 in the first inning. And the 1-0 pitch into Alejandro Kirk is good for a strike. It's 1-1. J.P. Sears looks in at the sign, delivers to Kyle McCann, another strike, and now ahead in the count, 1-2. Kirk trying to keep this inning alive, and he won't do so as he just struck out swinging, and that will do it. Blue Jays get one. We head to the fifth with Toronto down 7-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
I'm Ashley Flowers, host of the #1 true crime podcast in the world, Crime Junkie. I'm so excited to bring you the ultimate destination for true crime right here on SiriusXM, Crime Junkie Radio. You'll hear episodes from our award-winning podcast, plus Crime Junkie AF. On the show, we explore cases that are unfolding right now, keeping you on the pulse of what's happening in true crime. It's all on Crime Junkie Radio. Hear it now and anytime on the SiriusXM app. Just search Crime Junkie Radio.
If you love golf, then you should never turn off SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio. Our hosts have the best takes.
Tiger's impact on the game of golf, aside from how good he was at it, was something that I don't think we'll ever see again.
Talk to the biggest guests.
Scotty, you've had a year to celebrate.
This year, I've just seen a lot of good results.
And can even help you with your own game.
Take the club and at address, open it up.
It's all golf, all the time. On SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the SiriusXM app.
The NFL Radio Training Camp Tour is here.
The process with all our players is to come out and improve and get better each day.
Nobody gets you ready for the 2024 season like we do.
For the veteran players, they want to see the guy earn the job.
Don't miss analysis from our experts and interviews with head coaches, executives, and players.
We embrace this portion of our journey. We're just here to work and get better.
Hear coverage of the National Football League all year long on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
The fifth inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins awarded another 150 grants worth $20,000 each to entrepreneurs across Canada. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz at goodsparkgrants.ca.
You're hitting a groove, man, I got to tell you.
Smooth listening right there.
Goodsparkgrants.ca. And Ryan Yarbrough coming into the ballgame now for the Blue Jays to start this fifth inning. The day is done for Chris Bassitt as Bassitt leaves with his team trailing 7-1. Yarbrough, the lefty, with the first pitch into Toro, out to short, picked up by Clement, over to first, one away. Yarbrough gets that important first out here as the Blue Jays again try to mount this comeback over the course of the afternoon, down 6, 7-1, and it's now Zach Geloff stepping in. The right-handed bat of Geloff, the second baseman, looks at the first pitch, up high. Kirk held it for a second, wanted that call, didn't get it. And this one slapped foul down the third base line. Count now at 1-1.
Overall this season, Ryan Yarbrough is 4-2 with a 4.04 ERA in 34 games, 69 innings, just 39 strikeouts. You really won't see anything overpowering from him. That sinker just comes in at 86 miles an hour.
And this one sent on a pretty good shot to right field. It's over the head of Springer. He turns to play it off the wall. It takes one bounce. Springer picks it up, throws it into second base. Clement grabs it, and it's a double for Zach Geloff.
That was actually a rare misplay from George Springer out in right field. He got turned around. I don't know if he lost that ball or not, but that was a rare play where you see George Springer not really too confident out there. Zach Geloff with the one hop off the right field wall, and he's standing on second base.
We're in the Timber Mart broadcast booth in the top of the fifth inning with Oakland leading 7-1, and they just got a one-out double as now Kyle McCann steps in. Lefty on lefty battle right here, and that one sent just foul down the first base line. Jansen Visconti was on top of that one right away. 0-1 count to McCann. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Rib Sanity is on now until September 8th. All-you-can-eat ribs for just $27.99. Visit stlouiswings.com for details. Always devilishly good. The 0-1 pitch, too high, 1-1 on that out-of-town scoreboard. Bottom of the 5th, the Yankees lead the Rangers 2-0. Baltimore leading Tampa in the 5th inning, top of the 5th, 1-0. And again, the Orioles with a 1-game lead atop the American League East entering action today. The 1-1 pitch inside, it's 2-1.
Can you guess who hit a home run in that Yankees game?
Let me take a guess. It's one of 2 players.
Well, Jazz Chisholm also.
I swear that was going to be my second guess. I wasn't even going to say Soto. I was going to say it's Judge or Chisholm.
No,
I was going to say Aaron Judge.
It was Juan Soto.
Oh, it was Juan Soto. So there you go. I would have been wrong. My 2 guesses. 2-1 pitch. Outside, 3-1. And that looked very good. I'm not sure what Andy Fletcher was looking at there. It didn't look low or outside. Yarbrough can't be happy about that one. Now down on the count, 3-1 to Kyle McCann. The leg kick and the delivery. And this one, a lazy fly ball out into center field. Underneath it is Varsho to make the grab. And staying at second is Zach Geloff. 2 away.
Well, Kyle McCann was way out in front of that slow breaking ball from Ryan Yarbrough. Chris Bassitt has that slow 12-6 breaking ball. Ryan Yarbrough has more of a sweeper, but it's still only 70, 71 miles an hour.
A Sunday afternoon in Toronto with the Blue Jays trailing 7-1 in the top of the 5th inning. With the roof closed at Rogers Center, and the Blue Jays trying to win this game and take 2 of 3 against Oakland, but they're in tough right now, down 6. First pitch to Daz Cameron is a strike. The sinker was good, 0-1. And now 1-1. Things were looking good for the Blue Jays, taking 2 of 3 against the Orioles, and then winning the first game of this series against Oakland on Friday, 3-1. But yesterday the offense sputtered, losing 1-0, and we haven't seen a whole ton from the Blue Jay offense yet today. After the start for Chris Bassitt, giving up 6 runs in the first inning, Toronto has mustered just 1 run on 1 hit, and that was the Dalton Varsho solo shot that came in the bottom of the 4th inning. Daz Cameron now with a 2-1 count. Yarbrough turns, fires, and he got the strike in there. Nice curveball, 2-2. Cameron 1 for 2 on the day. Had a double back in the first inning. The 2-2. Sent past Yarbrough on the mound, but out to second base and easily making the grab, throwing over to first, Leo Jimenez to record the out, and that will do it for the A's. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Again, 7-1 Oakland. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Be the most informed player in your fantasy football league by listening to the experts on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
Hear player rankings, position breakdowns, and expert drafts.
There is no bigger value today than Dak Prescott.
Going deep down the right side, got a man, caught, touchdown Cowboys!
The road to a fantasy football championship begins with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, original specials, and much, much, much more. All baseball, every day, on your radio. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
The Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center, bottom of the 5th inning. Blue Jays down 7-1 as Ernie Clement steps up. Clement 0 for 1 in the ballgame. The average sits at 274 as he gets set for J.P. Sears with the pitch. And a dribbler right back to Sears, picks it up, turns, fires to first to record the out, and very quickly one away.
This injury report is brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Pereira will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca.
I know you've got something for me there. The Blue Jays did have a roster move today, as Spencer Horwitz steps up, and the first pitch from Sears, good for a strike on the slider, 0-1.
Well, there's really not much to update on in terms of injuries, but lefty Genesis Cabrera was reinstated from the paternity list, and Yeri Rodriguez was optioned to AAA Buffalo.
This one sent out to second base on a pretty weak grounder from Horwitz. Scooped up there at second base by Zach Geloff over to first. 2 away.
Cabrera is active for today's game after missing the maximum 3 games while on that paternity list. Cabrera has a 3.50 ERA over 50 games this season, 46 1/3 innings pitched.
Now Davis Schneider stepping in with the Blue Jays down 7-1, bottom 5, 2 out, and Schneider looks at the first pitch for a strike, caught the outside edge on the changeup, 0-1. Sears has thrown only 52 pitches thus far. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Swing and a miss. Schneider down 0-2.
The most impressive thing about J.P. Sears is he's working quickly, and if you look at that base on balls, he hasn't walked anybody.
The 0-2 pitch just missed, high and outside, 1-2. I know you talked about his numbers recently. If you really break it down, just in the last 2 months, his ERA was just below 8 in June. And in July, it was under 2.5. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Schneider sits down, and that does it for the Blue Jays as they go down 1-2-3 for the 4th time in 5 innings. 7-1. Oakland leads, heading to the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
This is the best I've ever seen.
City TV has all the edge-of-your-seat performances you can handle.
This is the most amazing season we've ever had.
America's Got Talent is doubling down on excitement.
Wow. Incredible. I'm blown away.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Better than any other season.
On the hunt for this season's winner.
You didn't know what was going to happen next.
America's Got Talent. All new Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 8/7 Central on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
He rocks the ball to left field. The Blue Jays have gone back-to-back.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. 6th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins is a big fan of small biz. That's why they awarded another $3 million to small business owners across the country. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz this year at GoodSparkGrants.ca. Max Schumann ahead in the count 1-0. That first pitch in from Ryan Yarbrough was no good. Ball one, but he came back with the curveball, catching the outside edge. It's 1-1.
And I mentioned last inning that Ryan Yarbrough and Chris Bassitt both have similar curveballs in terms of velocity. But that first curveball from Ryan Yarbrough was just 66 miles an hour.
I might have a chance at that one. The 1-1 fouled off by Schumann. It's 1-2. Probably if it was a fastball, though, not a curveball. I'd be swinging out of my shorts on that. The 1-2 comes inside. It's 2-2. Yarbrough coming in relief last inning for Chris Bassitt. Bassitt left with Oakland leading 7-1, and that's where the score stands right now in the top of the 6th inning. And again, inside, that one high as well as Schumann ducks out of the way. 3-2.
I've been waiting all game for you to suggest the attendance game.
Oh, right. Forgot about that. We got to play our attendance game.
Finally.
Well, you've got the bragging rights after yesterday. You stole the title from Tom Young, who had it for 2 straight days. This is like wrestling or something with the belt exchanging hands. You have to defend your title now. The 3-2 pitch fouled off by Schumann. We'll do it again at 3-2. I'm looking around. I think I've got my number ready.
This is a giant crowd for a rainy Sunday.
Well, they were hoping to come down and take part of the festivities outside, but unfortunately, Mother Nature had other plans as it was washed out around 11:30, and they had all the stuff out, the balloons and the inflatables and all the games and everything else. And folks had a chance to maybe get in on the action for about 30 minutes, 45 at most, before all of the organizers had to scramble and clean things up. And I think that brought a lot of people inside early when they opened up the gates at 11:30 Eastern. The roof has stayed closed since, with rain all around the area. Schumann getting set to dig back in the box. The count sits at 3-2 as he leads off this inning, the number 9 hitter for the A's. The righty on lefty matchup against Yarbrough, dealing the left-hander, turns, fires inside, and a free pass for Schumann to start this inning.
Well, Ryan Yarbrough didn't like that call. He took about 3 or 4 steps off the mound in disgust, shaking his head, kind of stomping around the mound. Looked to me like that was a ball.
All right, Tom Young just handed me his. He says 36,850 for the attendance.
That's way too low. Sorry, Tom.
I love how you got to give your 2 cents here. Just give me your guess. What's yours?
38,648.
648. Okay. We'll go to Show Ali next. I'm gonna give mine last. 0-1 count to Lawrence Butler, who's working on a 3-for-3 day. A double and 2 singles, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. A solid afternoon for Butler. And he thought about going after that next pitch, but held off on that curveball. It's 1-1.
All right, let's get Show's guesstimate.
All right, after this pitch, 1-1. Yarbrough looks over at Schumann, now steps off the rubber. What do you think?
I'll go 38,252.
That's way too close to mine.
252.
It's the Price is Right rules.
Oh, Chris already established that we don't play the Price is Right rules, apparently. So you are coming real close to his guess. Outside to Butler, missing with that curveball way down low. It's 2-1. Schumann at first with the lead, being held on by Horwitz. The 2-1 pitch is slapped foul into the netting just above the Blue Jay dugout. It's now 2-2. All right, I'm going 39,000.
Not a bad guess.
300.
Oh, come on.
And 21.
We actually have the
Do we?
The correct attendance already.
All right, well, let's give it soon. Schumann takes off, and that's going to work well for the A's as he's going to be safe at second. The ground ball went out to second base, scooped up by Leo Jimenez on to first for the out, but Oakland now has a runner in scoring position with 1 away. We have the official number. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I don't know if I can deal with the ego. One out here for the A's. As Rooker now stands in. And Brent Rooker looks at the first pitch. It's outside, ball one.
Show doesn't have that much of an ego.
I know he doesn't. Wasn't talking about Show. Rooker 1 for 3 today. Swings at this one, sends it foul down the right field line. It's 1-1. Show was approximately, because I can't do math well. Actually, I think I might be able to figure this one out. Show was 545 off. Like, that's crazy.
But
Yarbrough missing outside. It's 2-1. I was 524 off.
Pretty solid guesses. But
even better than Show's. Tom, not in the conversation.
Yeah, we knew that.
We knew
that.
He missed by over 2,000.
Yeah, we knew.
That's right. The former champ has lost his glow. Here's the 2-1. It's sent into left field. It's going to make its way toward the corner. On the run to get after it is Schneider. He won't get there. It bounces into the corner. Coming around from second to score is Schumann. And a stand-up double for Brent Rooker has given Oakland an 8-1 lead.
That actually wasn't a bad pitch from Ryan Yarbrough. A good changeup, down and away. Brent Rooker got it off the very end of the bat. But he's so strong, able to muscle it down into that corner in left field for an RBI and an 8-1 Oakland A's lead.
You missed the attendance figure by,
oh boy,
100 and I can't do the math. 149.
I thought you were just in disbelief that I was so close, but you just can't do the math.
149.
It's pretty good.
That's unbelievable.
You can't beat that.
I mean, look, listen. Show missed by 545. I missed by 524, but you missed by 149. The official attendance today, 38,797.
That's pretty good. Not to toot my own horn, but that's pretty good.
But toot, right? 0-2 count now to Bleday. J.J. Bleday stays alive as that pitch from Yarbrough goes outside. It's 1-2. Blue Jays trailing 8-1 in the top of the 6th inning. It was 6-0 in the first inning. And now Oakland trying to do more damage right here. Bleday slaps one into left field. Schneider comes up throwing to the plate. And now caught in a bit of a rundown at third. And ultimately tagged out is Brent Rooker. He turned the corner and a beautiful throw, from Schneider right to the plate. Picked up by Kirk and Rooker put on the brakes. And he was having none of that. But in the process of him getting tagged out on that base hit to left field, coming all the way around to third is J.J. Bleday. Some heads-up base running there.
Well, Eric Martins, the third base coach, was actually waving home Brent Rooker, and Brent Rooker took it upon himself to stop when that throw was actually right on target to home plate. That's just a tough call from Eric Martins at third base.
Oakland today, 4 of 8 with runners in scoring position. There's one out there right now, but there's 2 away. Seth Brown down on the count, 0-1. The left-on-left battle right here. Yarbrough delivers, and a nasty curveball right there puts him ahead. Yarbrough 0-2. The Blue Jays have given up 11 hits today and 8 runs. They trail 8-1 here in the top of the 6th. The 0-2 pitch, another nice curveball. Too low, though. 1-2. Yarbrough looks in at the sign and gets set for the 1-2 delivery. Outside, 2-2. On the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Baltimore still leading 1-0 in the top of the 6th inning. The Yankees, top of the 6th, leading 5-1. Yanks entered action today, a game back of the Orioles for first place in the American League East. The 2-2 pitch fouled off by Brown, and it fouled off his leg as he kind of dances out of the box, feeling the pain on that one, trying to walk it off. He'll get set to come back into the box at 2-2 as the Blue Jays try to get out of this 6th inning with only 1 run on the board for Oakland. There is a man on third right now as Oakland looks to add to its lead. The A's were up 6-0, then 7-0, then 7-1, and now 8-1. Bleday the lead at third. The 2-2 pitch coming to Brown. Up high, 3-2.
It's amazing to me the type of swings that Ryan Yarbrough gets on his fastball. 86, 87 miles an hour. I mean, how many guys in a men's league in the greater Toronto area are throwing 86, 87 miles an hour? Probably a good amount. And yet Ryan Yarbrough is getting big leaguers out.
Just like that right there. And it wasn't a fastball, but a curveball at 69 sits down Brown. And we head to the bottom of the 6th with the Blue Jays needing to do a lot of work. It's 8-1 Oakland. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Sit back, let go, and slip into a channel of commercial-free, deep house, and down-tempo grooves. Sirius XM, chill, modern mood music for focus, relaxation, and inspiration. Sirius XM, chill, on channel 55, and on the Sirius XM app.
While you're listening to this game on Sirius XM, we're talking about the latest odds and prop bets for this and every game on Sports Grid Radio.
The under's -125. Heavy juice to the under.
Every home run hit and every strikeout thrown can change the line.
I can't for the life of me figure out how you can favor a team that never wins, ever.
If you're looking for sports talk centered around the latest odds and prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Each week, I talk with the Baseball Hall of Famer about the challenges they overcame to become an all-time great.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
My legs started shaking.
They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the all-new SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's it for us.
Hear every stop of the 2024 training camp tour on NFL Radio Channel 88, the all-new Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
Getting set to start the bottom of the 6th inning. Blue Jays trailing 8-1 as Leo Jimenez steps in now. 0 for 1 in the ball game. The Blue Jays with only 1 hit as a team. And now, over the last game and a half, the Blue Jays with just 3 total hits and 1 run. They lost 1-0 last night with only 2 hits. Today, they've got 1 run on 1 hit, a solo home run from Dalton Varsho. Jimenez swings and misses at the 0-1, down 0-2 as J.P. Sears continues to deal.
Yeah, he's been cruising for the majority of this game. He's made 1 bad pitch, that slider to Dalton Varsho, but other than that, he's been locked in.
Missing with that next pitch. Ball 1, it's 1-2. Didn't get that fastball in there. Looks in at the sign now from his catcher, McCann. Kyle McCann behind the plate for the A's. Sears comes set. The pitch, and that one just missed. McCann wanted it. Held that frame for a moment. It's 2-2.
Well, McCann wanted it, and Andy Fletcher kind of flinched. I don't know if you saw that, but you could see him flinch, thinking about calling that a strike. Fortunately, he didn't.
And Jimenez Sends a soft liner out to short. One bounce over to first. Recording the out. Schumann to Brown. One away.
Pretty good pitch from J.P. Sears right there. Just a changeup, almost right down the middle, but it looked like a fastball. It had arm speed. And Leo Jimenez hit that thing and busted his bat off the end of the bat.
We are in the Timbermart broadcast booth in the bottom of the 6th inning with the Blue Jays trailing 8-1. As Luis De Los Santos comes up, grounded out to third in his first and only at bat, still in search of that first career hit. And he swings at the first pitch, sends it foul into the Blue Jay dugout. And it bounces around inside that dugout. 0-1. Sears, just 61 pitches thrown thus far. Turns, fires, outside, 1-1.
Always pretty fun, especially in an 8-1 ball game, to have a guy potentially get his first big league hit. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I can tell. You sound super excited. De Los Santos looks in at the 1-1. Swings, might have cracked his bat as well, dribbles it out toward third. He's got some speed, and he's going to get there. No throw, and maybe not the way you wanted to get it, but what do you think?
I don't think that's going to be a hit.
You're not going to say that's a hit?
I don't think so. It might be.
Well, we know the official scorer today, at least one of them.
But I don't think that's a hit. Toro could have made that play very easily. He bobbled that thing in his glove. You could see him. He's upset with himself. I don't believe that should be a hit, but
I think it
might
will be. I think it will be. I think De Los Santos would have been safe anyway with his speed. But it's not going to matter as the Blue Jays are going to get doubled up here. Springer out to second as Geloff flips it to Schumann, over to Brown at first, and that will do it. On to the 7th inning we go. 8-1. Oakland leads Toronto. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2meninatruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2meninatruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2meninatruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2meninatruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or 7th-inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hey, this is Kevin Gosman. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 7th inning, 8-1. Oakland leads Toronto as Eric Swanson has entered the ballgame now in place of Ryan Yarbrough. So we'll see if Swanson can take care of business and hold Oakland off the board with their 7-run lead. You'd hate to see them get any more. In 24 games this season, Swanson, his ERA at 6.64. And the first pitch outside, ball 1 to Abraham Toro.
He does have that elevated ERA, but if you look at him, his numbers since he's been called back up from Buffalo, pretty good. 1.35 in 7 games.
Second pitch, slap foul up into the stands, into the second deck, I believe, to our left. It's now 1-1. Toro, one of the few A's not having a great day. A strikeout, a flyout, and a groundout. 0 for 3. Now ahead in the count, 2-1, as that pitch was down low, almost in the dirt from Swanson. Missed with the splitter. The 2-1 swing and a miss, 2-2. On the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Houston leading Boston 6-0, top of the 6th. Yankees still leading 5-1 in the 6th. Baltimore still leading 1-0 now in the 7th over Tampa. Swing and a miss, sitting down Toro, an 0-for-4 day, and a strikeout for Eric Swanson.
Eric Swanson has completely changed his release point on that split finger. Early on in the season, he was throwing it like a pizza. That hand was getting under the baseball, and now he's staying on top of it. He's getting a lot more swings and misses, and it's very easy to see why he's having more success now.
This brings up Zach Geloff, who doubled in his last at-bat, had a 2-run homer in his first at-bat back in the first inning. 2 for 3 on the afternoon, and the first pitch in for a strike from Swanson. Four-seam fastball clocked at just over 93, 0-1. Swanson turns, fires to Kirk. Strike 2. The slider in there looked like Geloff wasn't sure what to make of that one. Now down in the count, 0-2. 38,797 this afternoon at Rogers Center, and it's been a rough ride for the fans thus far, with the Blue Jays trailing by 7. We'll see if they can mount a huge comeback. This one fouled off by Geloff, and will re-rack at 0-2. Blue Jays hit the road after the ball game for a flight to California. They open up 3 against Anaheim tomorrow, or the LA Angels. I don't know what they call themselves anymore. They change their name every 2 years. 9:30 Eastern, the start time for the next 3 games against the Angels. Then an off day on Thursday before Toronto will play 3 on the weekend in Chicago against the Cubs. After that series, it's back home for another 6. Check that, 7 against Boston for 4 and Minnesota for 3. No, I'm looking at the wrong part of the schedule. I'll clean that up in a second. As Geloff sends us out to right field. A long run for George Springer, and it took a late hop under the glove, deflects off Springer, and it will be yet another hit for Geloff. Springer just narrowly missed that one, and luckily the ball ricocheted off him in front of his body, and the Blue Jays were right on top of that in terms of the extra help that was running out to right field. It was picked up by Horwitz, who threw it back in to hold Geloff at second.
Well, you could see George Springer slamming the ground after he realized that he didn't come up with that baseball. That was about to be yet another highlight reel catch. He was an inch away from catching that baseball.
As he was diving head first and realizing that he didn't make that catch, he was smacking his head with both hands while the body was still sliding across the turf. To clean up my mistake, it's 3 against the Angels, then 3 against the Cubs, then it's home, against Cincy and the Angels again. Those Boston-Minnesota games are on the road to end August and into the first day of September, as we are winding down the stretch run, getting set to approach the final 6 weeks of the season. And the Blue Jays were hoping to finish strong against an opponent that you thought they might have had a chance to at least take 2, if not 3, with Oakland coming to town, but it's the A's who won last night, and they are in total control right now, leading 8-1 in the top of the 7th inning.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, August 14th against the Angels, that is your last game.
That is my last broadcast.
At least on the current schedule.
Yes, I guess things could change, yes.
Things get moved around quite a bit.
As Dan Shulman returns from the Olympics, and Ben Shulman returns to radio, and I return to poolside.
Well, I'm looking forward to Wednesday, August 14th. How about
to get rid of me, right?
Well, yeah.
You're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Ben Shulman will be back for the start of that Cubs series, and he and Chris will have you for the remainder of the season, as the Blue Jays, as I said, hope to finish strong to this 24 campaign. Obviously hasn't turned out the way a lot of people have wanted, but we'll see how things play out over the final 6 weeks, and of course we'll look forward to the September call-ups, and that could include, and probably will include at some point, a call-up for veteran Joey Votto.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on that. I have no idea what the front office wants to do with Joey Votto. I can only imagine that he's here because he knows what's going to happen with him.
This one sky high from McCann out into left field. Underneath it, making the grab is Davis Schneider to record the out. There are 2 away.
I would think that he and Ross Atkins have had at least a short conversation about his future with this team. He wouldn't be grinding through Buffalo, grinding through Tampa if he had thought that there was no chance of him getting called up.
I have my own theory.
What's your theory, Eric Smith?
This is not the way that he thought it was going to play out, right? This early injury and then having to come back from the injury and then dealing with Buffalo and whatnot. I think he probably anticipated, or at least hoped, that he would have been with the big club and hopefully contributing to a decent season all year in whatever role, off the bench, as a DH, whatever it might have been, with the big club. I'm guessing, I'm speculating, as the 0-1 pitch is fouled down the right field line by Cameron. He's down 0-2. I'm purely speculating that he's retiring at the end of the year for good. Maybe not, but I'm thinking this is it. He doesn't want to go through another year like this. Bring him up for that Cincinnati series in a week and a half. Let him play 3 games against his former team, and whether he goes 9 for 9 or 0 for 9, walk away after that 3rd game of the Cincy series. Don't even play the rest of the year. Let that be it. Finish your career against your former team, wearing the Toronto jersey, playing in front of your hometown friends and family on your hometown team, and walk away. Like, that's the storybook ending. Not grinding out the last 6 weeks and finish off the season against the Marlins. Hang him up after that Cincy series. The 1-2 pitch to Cameron, just missing from Swanson. It's now 2-2.
And this is just my opinion as well, but I don't think Joey Votto wants to get called up for 3 games and then go home.
Okay.
He doesn't want to have a DFA on his record.
Swing and a miss. Cameron sits down, strikes out to end the inning, and we go to the bottom of the 7th. Toronto trailing 8-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
If you're looking for a fun day, did you know the day before Monday? Junior J Sunday. You can paint your face, come and meet Ace and run base to base. On Junior J Sunday. So many things to do. You could bring your crew and even mom and dad too. Junior J Sunday.
Sundays are for Junior Jays. Get to the ballpark early to enjoy outdoor activities before continuing the fun inside while you cheer on the Blue Jays.
If you're feeling the song, grab your dad or mom, visit BlueJays.com. Junior J Sunday.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big, on this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Blue Jays up 3-2 on a wacky play to give Toronto the lead.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center, bottom of the 7th inning, and Dalton Varsho to lead things off for the Blue Jays. Toronto trailing 8-1, and their only run came off Varsho's bat as he gets underneath one on the first pitch and sends it sky-high foul up and into the seats just to the right of the Oakland dugout. 0-1 count. Varsho, up until last inning, was the only hit of the game for the Jays, but they did indeed give Luis De Los Santos a hit on that dribbler that he got to third that Abraham Toro couldn't get out of his glove. So it is a first career hit for De Los Santos, and only 2 hits on the day for the Blue Jays, just like last night.
Would you like my opinion on that?
Well, I know you didn't think it was a hit. And I'm also going to guess, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the former major leaguer, not me. That's not how Luis de los Santos wanted to get his first career hit, as Dalton Varsho just got his second hit of the day with a base hit to right field. The Blue Jays get the leadoff man on, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. steps up 0 for 2 today with a chance right here to extend his hit streak to 23 games.
Well, that was another hanging slider. That's 2 hanging sliders from J.P. Sears that Dalton Varsho has demolished today. One for a single and one for that solo home run in the 4th inning.
Sears outside to Vladdy. And a 1-0 count. If, and this is a big if, or maybe not so big, things continue to play out this way for the Blue Jays, unless they can get a rally going here, this might be Guerrero's last at-bat of this game. We'll see if he can extend the hit streak right here, and he's not going to do so. It's going to be a double play ball in all likelihood. From short to second to first, indeed, the double play ball. Vladdy 0 for 3. Blue Jays quickly now 2 outs here in the 7th.
Well, J.P. Sears just continues to make good pitches. That was a changeup. Vlad was way out in front. He hasn't really taken a swing like that in almost a month. Way out in front of that changeup, breaks his bat. You could tell he's kind of frustrated walking back to that dugout.
And this brings up Alejandro Kirk. First pitch into Kirk is good for a strike. The slider 0-1. Kirk 0 for 2 today. The right on left battle right here as Sears comes inside, a little high, 1-1.
And in answer to your comment about De Los Santos, is that ideal? No. Is that the way he dreamt his first major league base hit would go? But will he take it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because either way, it gets you going, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Or at least you hope it does. 2-1 count now to Kirk. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue in the Timbermart broadcast booth in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jays down 8-1. They were down 6-0 before they even came up to the plate in the first inning. And J.P. Sears dealing and reeling right now. Only 73 pitches here in the 7th inning. Even my bad math knows that's about 10 an inning. As he continues to go strong against the Jays and against Kirk right now specifically. The count is even 2-2. Sears will try and sit down the Jays right here. The leg kick and the delivery. And it's fouled off by Kirk. We'll do it again at 2-2.
Well, generally, he's been going about 95, 90, so somewhere between 90 and 95 pitches per start. He might not be able to go a complete game today, but he's looked really good so far.
Kirk steps back into the box, digs in. Sears gets the sign from McCann. Kyle McCann, his catcher. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Up high, 3-2. On that out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill, Tampa has now tied it against Baltimore. It's 1-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the Yankees have extended their lead to 6-1 over the Rangers in the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 pitch to Kirk. Outside, and he gets a 2-out walk. As this will bring up Ernie Clement. Clement 0 for 2 on the day. We'll try to keep things rolling here in this 7th inning. Clement often likes to swing at that first pitch. We'll see what he does right here. Lets that one go. It was well outside, 1-0.
J.P. Sears went to the Citadel. Did you know that?
I did not.
Do you know what the Citadel is?
Yeah.
It's a military school in South Carolina. They're not allowed to watch TV during their freshman year in the dorms.
It's because they listen to the radio broadcasts. They've got the Sportsnet radio network fired up. I hope to play for the Blue Jays one day.
At least those were the rules when I was in college. early 2000s.
That's why you didn't go to the Citadel, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to watch TV.
No, they have a pretty good baseball program, actually.
Because you can't watch TV. All you can do is play baseball. The 1-1 pitch. Clement swings and misses, 1-2. Just under 39,000 here today, and most have stayed as the stands are still packed, hoping for a Blue Jay comeback. Down 7 in the 7th. Kirk at first. And the pitch to Clement, the 1-2 fouled off. We'll do it again. Speaking of the fans, being at the ballpark this summer is now even easier. Create your own bundle of 3 action-packed Blue Jay games and save up to 20% on tickets. BlueJays.com/bundles. Sears just threw his 80th pitch, 81 right here on the 1-2 to Clement. Fouled off again, 1-2. Sears looks in at the sign. Clement looking for his first hit of the day. And he jumps on that 1-2 pitch, the slider, sends it foul into the netting down that third base side. And again, we'll do it at 1-2.
In JP Sears' last start on August 5th against the White Sox, his line was almost identical to what it is now, and he threw 89 pitches. He's about to throw his 83rd pitch of the ball game.
And his 7th pitch to Ernie Clement. Another one foul off. He's going to have to throw at least 8. Clement batting .273 and battling hard right now in the bottom of the 7th inning with a man on. That's Alejandro Kirk at first, who walked a couple of moments ago. Spencer Horwitz on deck. That's, of course, if Clement can get on. The 1-2 pitch, and it's sent into center field, but pretty much right at the center fielder, J.J. Bleday, who makes the snag, and that will do it. To the 8th inning we go. Oakland up 8-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. Let's go! We're back on the track Sunday,
5 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Cookout 400 from Richmond Raceway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah!
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Oh, yeah!
Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball. You love yelling at your buddies about baseball because they love baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hey everyone, it's Justin Turbin at your 24/7 home for hoops all year long is SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 and the SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
The Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. Show Ali coming up later with Jays Talk after this ball game. And it could be an interesting post-game show. 8-1 the Blue Jays trailing right now. Maybe it's even more interesting when folks are talking about a huge Blue Jay comeback. But they're going to need to score a lot here over the final 2 innings and hopefully not give up anymore. Tommy Nance is going to begin this inning for the Blue Jays. He comes in place of Eric Swanson, the 4th pitcher of the game for the Jays. It was starter Chris Bassitt who got jumped on with 6 runs in the first inning. We've seen Ryan Yarbrough and Eric Swanson since, and now It's up to Mr. Nance. And the first pitch to Max Schumann up high, missing with the sinker. 1-0.
Oh, we saw Tommy Nance yesterday in his first big league ball game since 2022 in Miami. He gave up a couple hits, but no earned runs.
The 1-0 inside 2-0. And now 2-1 as Nance responds with the sinker on the upper part of the zone. Looks like Schumann thought it was a ball. But Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire, calls it a strike. Again, 2-1 for Nance. Working quickly right now. Back with the 2-1 pitch. And that one was high, a little bit inside as well, 3-1. Nance wearing number 45 for the Blue Jays. As Schumann looks to get on for the third time in this game, 0 for 1 with 2 walks, looking for a third walk potentially right here. And he's going to get it. Ball 4, and he takes the trot down to first.
And that's not how Tommy Nance wanted to start off this ball game. He kind of struggled a little bit in yesterday's ball game, giving up 2 hits and just a third of an inning. Probably wanted to come out here and throw a lot of strikes, get a quick inning, but hasn't started out that way.
Top of the order we go for Lawrence Butler. Started the game 3 for 3, grounded out to second in his last at-bat. But a 3 for 4 afternoon for Butler with 2 runs scored and a run batted in as well. None out here in the top of the 8th inning with a man on first. That's Schumann, Max Schumann, who just got there moments ago with the walk. Butler ahead in the count 1-0. And now he did not offer at that next pitch. I thought he might have. They checked down to third base, and our guy John Bacon says, nope, it's good, 2-0.
Your guy, John Bacon.
Our guy.
My guy's Michlinski.
Oh, yeah? Nobody claiming Jansen Visconti at first? Not after he pooched us on that Dalton Varsho home run. Hot shot out to second, scooped up by Jimenez. Over to Clement at short, on the first to Spencer Horwitz for the double play, and quickly 2 away.
And that'll boost the confidence of Tommy Nance. Pretty good sinker down in the zone. Lawrence Butler hits a pretty quick ground ball to Leo Jimenez. Perfect turn. Ernie Clement over to first base for a quick 2 outs.
Brings up Brent Rooker with his 29 runs batted in. Or excuse me, with his 29 home runs. It was an even more impressive in terms of his totals with his RBIs. 83 runs batted in, 29 homers, and an average sitting now at 292 after his 2 for 4 afternoon. A single and a double with a flyout to left and a strikeout sprinkled in, and he's quickly down 0-2 as Nance looks to get out of this 8th inning right here. 8-1 Oakland, top 8. Swing and a miss. Rooker sits down. Nice job by Nance. We go to the bottom of the 8th with the Blue Jays trailing by 7. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big. On this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
Hey, this is Bo Bichette. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Back at Rogers Center, Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. J.P. Sears coming back out onto the mound to start this 8th inning. 84 pitches thrown. And we've got a bit of a delay here to start the game as they're having issues closing the bullpen door out in right field. And finally, it does shut. And we will get underway. Spencer Horwitz to lead things off here for the Blue Jays. The left-on-left battle outside Sears with the first pitch, 1-0.
The one thing they forgot to update were those hinges on that door out there in right field. All that money.
It's coming out of your paycheck. Horwitz 0 for 2 today. Looking to get things going right here. 1-0, now 2-0. And how long is the leash for Sears here in this 8th inning?
I think it's pretty long. I think you let him go to 100 pitches. Seems pretty spot on.
3-0. As he missed with the sinker. Horwitz trying to get on base for the first time today. 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts. The 3-0 pitch. There's a strike. Got him with the fastball. 3-1.
He did throw 114 pitches on July 10th, so there's that as well.
Sears, the kick, the delivery, and missed outside. And a walk to start this 8th inning for Spencer Horwitz.
A lot of movement out there in that Oakland A's bullpen. So I'm assuming that leash just got a little bit shorter for J.P. Sears.
It brings up Davis Schneider. 2 strikeouts on the day. 0 for 2. Hoping to bust out of that funk right here. First pitch, down low, 1-0. Blue Jays down 8-1. But they just got the leadoff man on here with Horwitz out at first. Swing and a miss. 1-1. The average has dipped down to 207 for Davis Schneider. Would look to give it a bump right here. 1-1. Down the third base line into foul territory. Now down in the count 1-2.
And Michel Otañez is now warming up in that A's bullpen.
The crowd is trying to get fired up here. They were even attempting the wave moments ago. Down 8-1. Anything that can try and spark this Blue Jay lineup right now. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Schneider. Then he chops one down third, again foul. We'll do it again at 1-2. On that out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. Top of the 7th, Texas now threatening, trailing New York 6-1, but they've got the bases loaded, the Rangers do, with just 1 away. Baltimore in the bottom of the 8th, still tied with Tampa, 1-1. Rays have a man on with none out. The 1-2 pitch. And Schneider sends it sky high up and over the backstop. Will re-rack it at 1-2.
I'll tell you what, for an 8-1 ball game, this crowd seems to be pretty rowdy.
And they've stuck around. I've got to assume a lot of them are probably the kids that aren't they running the bases today? Yep. So
Junior Jays.
That's probably a big part of it. Either that or they're extremely optimistic about the comeback. I hope they're right. The 1-2 pitch. Misses outside. Good eye by Schneider. didn't offer out that changeup. It's 2-2.
That Jays Care 50-50 draw is now almost at $500,000. $496,310. You'll take the point.
I'll take 310. Why not? The 2-2. Again, nice patience from Schneider. It was up high on another changeup. Now 3-2. 96 pitches thrown now for Sears. Ball 4. 2 walks to start the inning for the Blue Jays. Horwitz and now Schneider.
Well, J.P. Sears' jersey is absolutely soaked. It's that dark gray instead of that light gray. And I think that's the day for him.
We'll make it official in mere moments. And yes, indeed, the Oakland A's are going to the bullpen. I thought it was going to be a busy day for Show Ali, but this is the first time we go to him at baseball control right here at Rogers Center. Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Eric. And before we check the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, don't forget we do have Jays Talk today. I have a solo edition of the post-game show. I will take your calls and your texts once this game is over. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. I will also throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. All right, let's check the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. It's the last day for Olympic updates. The closing ceremony's on right now, so why don't we take a look back at the medal tally for Team Canada. 9 gold medals, 7 silver, 11 bronze. It is 27 medals overall. It is one of the best results for Canada at an Olympic Games ever, summer or winter. So 27 medals in Paris. That is now the second most at a single Games. It beats the 26 from Vancouver in 2010, and in Beijing 2022 they were tied for the second most ever. And if you're curious, the Canadian record is 29 medals, which were all won in Pyeongchang back in 2018. If you want to dive even further into the numbers, 50 Canadian athletes won medals these games. When you include the team events, for example, the relays, etc., if you break it down by province, it goes 22 medals from Ontario, 9 from BC, 7 from Alberta, 5 from Quebec, 2 each from Nova Scotia and Saskatchewan, and 1 each from PEI and Manitoba. So congratulations to all of the Canadian athletes, medal or no, at these Olympics. The games have come to an end, so if you want to watch Summer McIntosh and Ethan Katzberg as the co-flag bearers for Team Canada, the closing ceremony is on right now. And by the way, I highly recommend giving the Paralympics a watch as well. Some terrific Canadian athletes coming your way, like Aurélie Rivard and Katarina Roxon. So give the Paralympics a watch when they get going on August 28th, which is, of course, 17 days away. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action here at the Rogers Center. Here's Eric Smith and Chris LaRue.
All right, thanks very much, Show. Michel Otañez steps in now to take over in relief of J.P. Sears, who was fantastic today. But he starts this 8th inning with back-to-back walks. And for the first time today, and arguably the first time in a couple of games, the Blue Jays are threatening. They've got a lot of threatening to do, still trailing by 7, but this is how it starts. And Leo Jimenez will hope to continue it. Takes the first pitch for a strike from Otañez, 0-1.
And you just have to keep the line going. Every single batter, get on base, any means. Just keep that line going.
And it's sent hard down the third base line, but foul. And now quickly down in the count, 0-2, is Jimenez. Otañez comes set, quick look at second, turns, fires, swing and a miss. Leo sits down with the strikeout, 1 away.
That's a big fastball at the top of the strike zone. 97 miles an hour, a little short arm from Otañez. We saw Otañez a couple days ago in the first game of this series. Threw an inning and struck out 2. He's been pretty good lately.
This brings up the number 9 hitter in the Blue Jay lineup, Luis De Los Santos, who had his first career hit in his last at-bat, an infield single. Ahead in the count 1-0, that first pitch inside from Otañez. The glance at second. Turns, fires, and De Los Santos, there's a legit hit into the right field corner. Coming around to score is Spencer Horwitz. Being held at third is Davis Schneider, and it's the double for Luis De Los Santos. Have yourself a day, young man.
Well, not only did he get his first hit in this ball game, but he just collected his first career Major League RBI. I guess, and his first Major League double. He's doing it all today.
So it's now second and third for the Blue Jays. They're still down big. It's 8-2, but keep chipping away here as we bring up the top of the order with George Springer. Only one down here in the 8th. And the first pitch to Springer sends it into left field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. That's going to score 2. De Los Santos is right on the back of Schneider, and 2 runs batted in for George Springer. Suddenly, we've got ourselves a ball game.
Well, De Los Santos is lucky that Daz Cameron didn't come up with that fly ball. I thought for a second that Cameron had a chance at it. De Los Santos just took off and was right on the heels of Davis Schneider. 8-4 ball game.
8-4 in the 8th. Blue Jays were down 6-0 after 1, and now Varsho just got plunked, and he went down in a heap. He got hit in the leg. The fans don't like it. Varsho quickly gets back up, and he is feeling it right now. Springer will move up to second. Varsho will eventually take first. And remember, earlier in the game, it was Varsho that led off Toronto's scoring with a solo home run.
Well, we'll have to see a replay, but I think that he got hit in the side of the right knee, and that was a fastball at 99 miles an hour. As he walks down to first base with John Schneider and Jose Ministral.
We're getting the replay right now to confirm. And indeed, you called it correctly, going off that right knee. Varsho seems to be okay right now as he's trying to walk it off down that first base / right field line, stretching out that leg, as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets set to come up and a chance to not only extend the hit streak to a career-high 23 games, but more importantly, extend this inning and hopefully put another 1 or 2 or more on the board for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, this is a big at-bat. Otañez has that big fastball, mid to upper 90s. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., like you said, is trying to extend that hitting streak. Must-see TV right here.
So Varsho is going to stay in the ball game. I'm sure he's going to be feeling that one on the plane ride out to California later on tonight. We'll see what his status is like for Game 1 against the Angels tomorrow. It's Springer at second, Varsho at first, Guerrero coming up 0 for 3 today, but only 1 out here in the 8th inning as the Blue Jays have cut the Oakland lead to 8-4. Right-hander Austin Adams now warming up in the Oakland A's bullpen. And the crowd is certainly fired up now. They haven't had a ton of reasons to cheer today, but again, we've given them their love and credit all day. The stands have been packed right up until now. Even down 8-1, folks weren't leaving, and they're getting rewarded right now with a little 8-inning rally that Vladdy Guerrero will hope to continue right here. Otañez with the pitch to Vlad, and he sends it toward short. It's going to be another double play ball. Back-to-back double play groundouts for Vladdy in each of his last 2 at-bats, and that's a buzzkill in the 8th that ends the inning. An 0 for 4 day for Vladdy, and we head to the 9th with the Blue Jays now down 8-4. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
After 10 years, Billy Joel's residency at Madison Square Garden has come to an end. Feel the energy and emotion of the final concert. And hear every magic moment. Playing throughout the week, exclusively on the Billy Joel channel. The Final Residency Concert. SiriusXM, Channel 79, and on the SiriusXM app.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us today for this Blue Jays matchup. Have you joined as a member yet? Thank you to all of our members, 142 of you so far. Please join today. The link is in the description, and join this awesome community and help us continue to grow. I made it 99 cents a month for a reason, so that everybody can get access to these awesome emojis to keep this chat fired up and cheer our Toronto sports team on, whether it's the Blue Jays right now, the Argos, the Leafs coming up, the Raptors. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you guys with those awesome emojis. Go Blue Jays, go.
Trucks turn on 82.
Share the thrill of victory.
The joy, the jubilation. I can't stop smiling.
And the agony of defeat.
When is this franchise going to realize people really care about this?
Passionate sports fans call 888 Dog 6.
You gotta love sports.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 9th inning. And Tommy Nance back out there for the Blue Jays, getting set to face J.J. Bleday. First pitch is in for a strike, swing and a miss from Bleday. 0-1 count. Blue Jays got 3 in the 8th to cut the Oakland lead to 8-4, and it looked like they had a great chance to do more damage, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up with 2 on and only 1 out. Grounded into a double play. And it looks like his hit streak will come to an end today, barring a monster comeback in the 9th inning for the Blue Jays. Down 4 and hopefully keeping it just at the 4. 1-1 now to Bleday. Nance fires in for a strike. Got him with the curve. 1-2. On that out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill, we might have a tie atop the East again, maybe. Tampa leading Baltimore 2-1 now in the top of the 9th. The Orioles down. Yankees still up by 5 in the bottom of the 7th against the Rangers. That one in New York. So with a New York win and a Baltimore loss, we would see the two teams with identical records again. The 1-2 pitch down low in the dirt from Nance to Bleday. It's 2-2. (8-4) Oakland leading. Bleday working on a perfect 3-for-3 day. Now 3-2. That pitch down low. Bleday had a 2-run homer in the first, walked in the second, a base hit in the 4th, and another base hit in the 6th. And he gets underneath this one. He's going to probably sit down for the first time today. Coming in from third to make the grab is De Los Santos, 1 away.
Tommy Nance has pretty good stuff. That fastball right there was only 94 miles an hour, but it had a ton of horizontal run on it. J.J. Bleday just hits it off the end of the bat. A little pop-up to De Los Santos at third base, but Tommy Nance has pretty good stuff.
This brings up Seth Brown, the Oakland first baseman, batting from the left side, 0-for-3 today. Getting set for Nance. The first pitch is sent to center field, and on the run, down toward the track, making the grab. Dalton Varsho over the shoulder. The knee looked fine right there. 2 away.
Yeah, actually, watching that slow motion replay, I said it hit him in the side of the knee. It might have got him on the meat, right above that knee. Hopefully, that means that nothing serious is gonna go on. Hopefully, might not play tomorrow. That's kind of a stretch after getting hit with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball on the side of the knee, but looked pretty good right there.
2 away here in the 9th. It brings up Abraham Toro, 0-for-4 today. In the first pitch, dropped in for a strike. Curveball was in there, 0-1. Nance has looked good since coming in for the Blue Jays. Ahead in the count, 0-1. Now it's 1-1, missed outside. Toro 0-for-4 with 2 strikeouts, a flyout and a groundout. The average sitting at 243 for the Quebec native.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Offers at this one, slaps it foul, dribbling it toward the Blue Jay dugout. It's 1-2.
Nance is a massive dude out there, 6'6", 240. He's got that big beard, intimidating presence out there.
The 1-2 pitch coming from Nance. Slap foul, dribbling it towards the Oakland dugout. Toro did. We'll do it again at 1-2. So 6'4", 240.
6'6", 240.
6'6", 240.
Yes.
With an intimidating beard. So the only difference between him and me is about 7 inches and 100 pounds. Make it more like 10 inches.
Hey, I wasn't going to be the one to say it.
I screwed up my math because I'm thinking, all right, 5'9". No, wait, no. It's actually at 5'12". That becomes, yeah, okay, do the math. See, I told you I wasn't good at math. Count sitting at 1-2 still as Toro digs in. Here comes Nance with the 1-2 pitch. And it's sent towards second base. Scooped up there by Jimenez over to first to record the out, and that will do it. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Put on your rally caps. Jays down 4. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
The Blue Jays are inviting you to work from Dome. Put it in your calendar. 307 weekdays starts this season. You can work from Dome with friends or coworkers at Rogers Center. It's a game changer. Make the ballpark your office for the afternoon. Work from Dome, 307 weekday starts. Let's touch base. Check out ticket options on bluejays.com/workfromdome.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Marshall smashes the ball to right field. It's gone!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Ali with you. The Jays trail the A's 8-4 as we head to the bottom of the 9th here at the Rogers Center. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk today. I have a solo edition of the postgame show. I will take your calls and texts once this game is over. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. I will throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. The Jays trail 8-4 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Mason Miller on to try and close things out for the A's for a second consecutive game. Here is Eric Smith and Chris LaRue.
All right, thanks very much, Joe. Alejandro Kirk will be the first batter to face Mason Miller. And buckle up for the heat coming with Mr. Miller. As Joe just mentioned, we saw it last night. He'll throw 103, if not more. Kirk stands in. And the first pitch, he didn't bring the heat. It was the slider at 85, missing way outside, 1-0.
He actually enjoys throwing that slider, which is weird. If I threw 103, I would throw that heater the majority of the time.
And Kirk offers up that second pitch, sends it sky high into right field, but plenty of room for Lawrence Butler to get underneath, make the grab, one away.
That fastball right there was only 97, but we saw him throw a fastball last night at 103.3 miles per hour.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Ernie Clement steps into the box, and the first pitch, a slider, in for a strike, 0-1. 0 for 3 day for Ernie. And the second pitch, they look down to Jansen Visconti, who says it's okay. Ball 1, 1-1. Miller down in the dirt outside. Tried again with the slider. 2-1. He hasn't uncorked the heater yet. Not at least at 3 digits.
He's not feeling great today, only throwing 98.
It's weak. Clement just got underneath one on the 2-1 pitch, sends it into left field. Fairly shallow, lots of room. In to make the grab is Daz Cameron. Quickly 2 away, and the Blue Jays down to their final out.
That fastball right there was elevated out of the strike zone, 99 miles an hour. Ernie Clement kind of just wailed at it, hitting it off the end of the bat for a weak fly ball.
So now 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Jays down by 4. It's 8-4 Oakland. First pitch to Horwitz is in for a strike. The fastball at 99-0-1. Horwitz walked and scored in his last at-bat. And he hits one off the handle of the bat. Out to short, but it's actually picked up by the third baseman Toro over to first. And that will do it. Oakland, after losing the opener on Friday, beats Toronto last night 1-0 and takes care of the Jays again today 8-4. The Jays lose 2 of 3 against the A's. And they kind of limp into their road trip now, having lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, well, I think the story of the day today was J.P. Sears. He was incredible for the Oakland Athletics, but the turning point of this ball game happened in the top of the first inning when Chris Bassitt gave up those 6 runs, and the Blue Jays really never had a chance after that.
We'll step aside for the break, come back with some final thoughts and some final numbers as, again, the Blue Jays lose 8-4 to the Athletics. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Middle in fastball, but he puts it by Cruz. 2 down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Back at Rogers Center, Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. Oakland with 8 runs on 12 hits. The Blue Jays with 4 runs on 5 hits. The A's beating the Jays 8-4. And the 22-game hit streak is over for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He goes 0 for 4 today and unable to extend the streak to 23 games. So he'll hope to start fresh tomorrow night against the Angels with a 9:30 first pitch. But a rough day for Vladdy, a rough day for the Jays overall. Chris, as you said it before the break, it was really, in a way, over before it started, with Toronto giving up 6 runs in the first inning. The top half of the first inning took 20 minutes, and Bassitt was buried very early.
Yeah, Chris Bassitt was almost brilliant after that rough first inning, but in that first inning, he just threw too many pitches over the heart of the plate. You could tell that he really didn't have an idea of that release point. He was fighting something. He was fighting his mechanics. He was really trying to grind through that inning. And ultimately, he just left some hangers. He left a couple hanging sliders. He left a couple fastballs that ran over the middle of the plate. And the Oakland A's, you have to give credit to them. They absolutely smashed those mistakes from Chris Bassitt early in this ball game. But after that, he was actually a different guy, a complete 180, and ended up looking pretty solid for the next 3 innings that he threw in this ball game.
J.J. Bleday had a 2-run home run in the first inning, and then later on that same inning, a second 2-run home run for Zach Geloff. and that was a part of the 6-run first inning for Oakland. They went up 6-0, then 7-0, then it was 7-1, 8-1, then 8-4, and that's how it ended. 8-4, Oakland wins in front of 38,797 Blue Jay fans in a game that took 2 hours and 35 minutes. And before we hand it off to post-game coverage, any thoughts on the road trip coming up against the Angels and the Cubs?
Well, I think it's a big stretch for them. Like you said, they can try to climb their way out of the cellar in that American League East. I think it's if you look at the teams that they're about to play, the Cubs, the Angels, and then even after that road trip, you get the Reds coming in, you get the Angels again. Those are teams that they can compete with. Those are teams that they can beat. And like you said early, they can try to climb their way out of that cellar.
Well, and we thought they would have done so against the Oakland Athletics, but unfortunately the Blue Jays lose 2 of 3 after winning on Friday. They lose 2 straight and go into this road trip having lost 2 in a row, thanks to Tom Young here at Rogers Center and back at Baseball Control. Andrew Adams. Show Ali is coming up in mere moments with Jays talk, so get yourself ready for post-game coverage. As again, the Blue Jays lose 8-4 to the A's. For Chris LaRue, I'm Eric Smith. Thanks for tuning in to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
If you're just looking at the box score, but ultimately here we are discussing a Blue Jays series loss to the A's at the Rogers Center, an 8-4 defeat to wrap up these 3 games, losing 2 straight to Oakland here in Toronto, and the Blue Jays heading off to Anaheim to take on the Angels. Wrigley Field awaits as well next weekend, but they are 10 games under 500. I'm Show Ali. You're listening to Jays Talk live on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're also streaming on sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet app. You can give me a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text me as well, 590-590, name and location. The People's Text line always open, and as you know, standard messaging and data rates may apply. Before the mini rally in the 8th inning, no joke, I think the 2 biggest cheers, because we're sitting here at the Rogers Center, I think the 2 biggest cheers today were, one, obviously the Varsho solo shot, which I think went off a Sportsnet camera out there in right field. And 2, I think when Brent Rooker was caught in the rundown on the laser throw from Schneider to Kirk between third and home. Great throw, great catch, great moves to get Rooker, and I think Blade got to third on the play, but that was the biggest cheer of the day. Certainly the 8th inning changed that, right? Luis De Los Santos, first Major League hit and Major League RBI in this game, so well done for Luis De Los Santos, but not a lot of cheerable moments for the pretty rowdy home crowd, honestly, considering how tough a game it was. There's a lot of people here. So watching the kids run the bases, Junior Jay's Sunday certainly always plays into that. But a pretty active crowd. You know, it's funny, I'm here on the radio, so we don't get to hear the TV call, obviously, but Buck calling the TV games these last few nights. It's a shame we only got the one, get up, ball, get up and gone call. Today it came on the Varsho home run, but I don't know. I guess I shouldn't get greedy, right? There was at least one, but should have been more, is all I'm saying. Before we talk a little bit about Chris Bassitt, because that's going to be obviously where we start, I wanted to wrap up on the giveaway, which we had been doing, or I guess which we did yesterday, and we're going to give away some more stuff next weekend. I believe Daniele and Julia are going to be in with me on the Saturday and Sunday respectively, but with 7 more weekends coming for us starting next weekend, we're going to give away some stuff. Harry Potter Raglan shirt, Bo Bichette bobblehead, some Carabana Blue Jays hats, the Canadian tuxedo hat from Canada Day. That's what remains. We'll give some stuff away every weekend. So the trivia question yesterday, if you're curious the answer, was a couple days ago, Vladdy was a single shy of the cycle. That was when he was at 20 games for the hit streak. He was the first player since 2006 with 20 or more extra base hits and a batting average of 500 or better in a 20-game span. So who was the most recent player before him to do this? So essentially who did it back in 2006? My hints to you. He was a former number 1 overall pick. He's a World Series champion, and he's in the Hall of Fame. It is Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones was the answer to that question. It's actually pretty crazy. The other guys, if you go back even further, and again, this is courtesy of MLB Network, Sarah Langs, since 1901. Okay, this was on August 8th. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2024. Chipper Jones, 2006. Richard Hidalgo, 2000. Larry Walker, pretty cool, 1999. Frank Thomas, 1997. Lou Gehrig, 1936. Jimmy Fox in 1933, and Rogers Hornsby in 1928. Pretty crazy, honestly. And I think that also includes 10 home runs as well. So it's a pretty wild list. So Chipper Jones doing it back in 2006. He was pretty good. Pretty good company to be in. Anyways, we had so many giveaways, so I picked two winners. One was Adam in Selkirk. He picked the George Springer jersey. And Dave in Ottawa, who I did reach out to, but he has not yet told me what he wants. But Adam and Dave are our two winners, and we'll give away some more stuff next weekend. But either way, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can also text me as well, 590-590, name and location. All right, let's talk about some Chris Bassitt. 4 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, all of which were earned, including 2 home runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 86 pitches, 51 of which were strikes. Not the start you wanted to see from Bassitt, right? I mean, especially you're hoping he can build on stuff after the 2 earned runs over 7 innings of work the last time out. Today, 5 runs in the first 6 batters of the game. The first 6 batters of the game for Oakland went double, single, home run, hit by pitch, strikeout, home run. And then he would give up a 6th run in that same inning to Lawrence Butler as the A's bat around on the Butler RBI single in the top of the first inning. Not good. Not good. If actually, it seems to kind of underscore, seems to highlight, if you will, some more struggles from Bassitt. If you go back to the beginning of July, which obviously it's a little skewed to I think, July, because July obviously includes the All-Star break, but including every start since the beginning of July, which for Bassitt was on Independence Day, July 4th, coming into today, so not including today's stats, Bassitt had an ERA of 6.06 over 32 2/3. He had given up 5 home runs in those 6 starts, and that includes going 7 innings, allowing those 2 earned runs in this first start of August. So that speaks, I think, to the turbulent, at best, July he had. But it has not been easy. Has not been easy for Bassitt over the last month. Obviously, the operative word we're looking for is bad. But no matter how much you bounce back after the terrible start, his shortest start before this remains a 2 2/3 outing in which he gave up 7 earned runs to the Dodgers back at the end of April. He did stay out there a little longer today, but still finished his outing with 7 earned runs over those 4 innings. It was just bizarre, right? He just looked like he was leaving a lot of his pitches, basically any of his 7-8 pitches that he throws in that large arsenal of his. He was just leaving all of them over the middle of the plate. And I mean, the A's aren't the best team in the world, but it's not as though you can make mistakes to guys like J.J. Bleday, Seth Brown, Toro, Geloff, and I know Kyle McCann, Das Cameron, Max Schumann. They're not slouches. And Lawrence Butler had come into this game pretty hot, and Brent Rooker is who he is. He's probably the best hitter on that team. But you can't take them less seriously just because of their record. They're still a very talented team, especially those guys I listed. So I don't know. You can't be doing that. He just could not find the release point on effectively any one of those pitches in that first inning, and then he seemed to find it. You could see the highlights on the Sportsnet TV cameras. He was chatting with Pete Walker on the bench, looking at the iPad, so clearly found something that worked for him because he did find the release point in innings 2 through 4. I guess he could have left him out there for the 5th at 86 pitches thrown. It's kind of funny to take the other side of this argument after what we discussed about Y-Rod yesterday, but I'm not going to quibble with it after the first inning we all saw. Like the trust factor, kind of like, oh, shouldn't he get the trust factor? You were talking about the trust factor needing to be bigger for Y-Rod yesterday, which is true, but I think the trust factor is kind of what let Schneider leave him in there after 6 earned runs in the first inning, despite only recording 2 outs. So I'm not sure the trust factor, even for a veteran like Bassitt, extends a ton past that when you give up 7 earned runs. It's a tough start for him and does not solve or answer the questions we had about him in the last little while. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666, 0590, star 590 on your cell. Go to the text line in a sec here, 590-590, name and location. But first, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Russ in New Jersey. Russ, what's up?
Good morning, good afternoon, how are you? So, win and lose, it doesn't make a difference at this point to the season. I beg Blue Jay fans, because they seem to still be coming out and, coming out strong to the game. 35,000 people don't understand why, but they keep coming out. But if you're a season ticket holder, I ask you to renew your season tickets on one condition. Atkins is gone. I look at that press conference last week, and I got to laugh. He talked about the end of the bullpen. There were a couple games, the Boston game that we lost 7-6, a couple games. But you look at last year, and Atkins talked about the offense, and it really wasn't our offense, and really we should have had a much better year. And I looked at him like he was crazy, and then he made his moves. Now let's talk about one of the moves. They've got Daniel Vogelbach. Now, if you remember in late April and May, they were trying to figure out ways we got to get Vogelbach back in the lineup. We moved Guerrero the third. Vogelbach was released 2 months ago. No one picked him up. No one. The Vogie. No one picked him up. These were the moves the guy made. If I look at this team next year, and I'm not, asking about Spencer Horwitz, how good of a player he's going to be, because only time will tell. But how many guys can you really plug in for next year? I see Bassitt's getting older. What is he? I don't know, 34, 35. Usually pitchers don't get better at that age. They get worse. Gosman is the same thing. You're going to have Springer back out there in the outfield who's, he's on the decline. He's played a lot of baseball. He busts every game, defensively, and he's going to do what he's going to do, but he's on the decline. Where do you think you're getting a team next year? Even if you get Anthony Santander, where are you getting a team next year to compete with the Orioles, with the Yankees, with the teams to win? You don't have it. And they're going to make people, they're going to, as long as people start showing up, Rogers is probably going, well, I like this. I don't have to win. And I'm still have 35, 40,000 people showing up. I just don't get how people could believe these people anymore. He has no clue, and it's been 8 years. There are 6 other teams since 2016, the last time the Blue Jays won a game, that haven't won a playoff game in that time. And none of their GMs are still there. And 2 of them are Baltimore and Kansas City, who have a good chance of winning a game this year. So I just don't understand how people can get convinced that in 2025 he's going to put out a competitive team that's going to be very competitive. But that's maybe just my opinion.
Hey, Russ, appreciate the call, man. I will steal a line from Blair and mark you down as undecided on the tenure of Mark Shapiro. No, it's funny. I actually haven't had a huge chance to talk about the Mark Shapiro press conference since it happened midweek. But I'll say this. When it comes to taking the front office at their word, I don't think very many fans are going to do that. I don't know if you should really, even if you like the front office, right? Like for any team, in any sport, I don't know if it's really worth doing that. Mainly because which front office members in literally any team in any sport are really going to come out and tell you the cold, hard truth. I would say no general manager does that, even for the really good teams, right? So that's one thing. But certainly, even if you don't want to take them at their word, I mean, gosh, and you're trying to parse through, decipher what was said earlier a couple days ago. I mean, if there's one thing that will likely go contrary to Russ's point, which I know many people will not like, if you're trying to understand what Shapiro said, I did not get the distinct impression that this is a franchise that's about to experience drastic change in the front office. Now, again, I suppose what could happen in the offseason, to Russ's point about, do you believe in Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins? And these are conversations we've had on J-Stock a bazillion times this year. And I think everyone knows where I stand on that. Change needs to happen, obviously, right? To Russ's point again, there are other teams, and again, this is not even just a baseball conversation. In all of the sports in North America, the 4 major sports, throw in the MLS if you wanted to as well, right? But there have been franchises that have experienced less regular season success. And I mean, they've had no playoff success since in the Bo and Vladdy era, so that's a whole separate conversation. But in terms of regular season success, they have had more success than other teams have been able to put together, and still managed to keep their jobs, whereas other teams change the regimes, if not relatively often, but certainly with less of a leash, right? So that's why I believe the change should happen. Now, in the offseason, I suppose Shapiro could always get fired by like Rogers, I suppose. Like the board of directors could always come down and say, no, we don't want you anymore. You and Atkins, you got to go. They give a chance to someone else. But, I mean, if they're not going to fire Shapiro, I did not get the sense from him that he is going to be letting Ross Atkins go, which I think will not engender much goodwill Let's put it that way, towards the team as a whole, and certainly towards ownership, because after a certain point, if ownership doesn't step in, it's just going to be Shapiro making these decisions, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure today today as a singular game, an 8-4 loss to the A's. I'm not really sure it's going to be the thing that makes or breaks the season at this point, because we kind of already know, again, what Russ said earlier, we kind of know where the season is headed. The 10 games under 500 on August 11th, well past the deadline. When you're looking at next year, before we go to another phone call here, when you're looking at 2025, I'm trying to look at the positions on the field and think to myself where you desperately need an upgrade. I mean, third base would seem to be a place. Left field would seem to be a place as well. But, I mean, you're pretty much penciled into Varsho in center, right? You're penciled into, you're in pen, honestly. You've inked this in place in right field with Springer, largely because of his contract, but he's there. Vladdy at first. I would say a Horwitz at second, and Bo, unless something really gets changed, at short. So, Kirk's going to be a catcher, so you essentially need a backup catcher. You need a third baseman. You need a left fielder who can hit. You do not want a defensively minded left fielder. Please, we've had enough of that. You need a DH certainly as well. And I think it's probably for the best that it's not a Brandon Belt, Justin Turner type of situation. So now you're looking at upgrades at 1, 2, 3 starters and 1 backup, depending on how you view Kirk. And you probably need 1 more starter. Like, even if you pencil in Wyrod as a starter next season, you probably need 1 more, because I'm not sure you can really count on having Alek Manoah because of the Tommy John, and then just generally speaking how he's performed even when he's not been injured. So there's that. Like, that's a lot to get done in one offseason, right? That's a lot of money to spend. And again, they have the money to do it. You certainly can, even if they don't want to be a luxury tax team, a CBT team. You can get it done. But at the same time, are you going to be spending top dollar on all of these guys? I don't know. Put it this way. Even if you were to trade Bo and you sign all of, or trade for, sign all of Brent Rooker, Anthony Santander, people brought up yesterday, and Willy Adames, and someone else, does that make this team a World Series contender? I would say it makes you a playoff team, but even in a crowded AL field, does it make you good enough to topple the Yankees and the Orioles and the Guardians, I guess? I don't know. I'm not sure that it does. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to the phones again. Let's go to Clifton in Etobicoke. Clifton, what's up?
Yeah, sure. Not much, man. Not much. Listen, now, I think you missed something there, buddy. The Blue Jays going to have to sign a number 1 starter, or they better pump whatever money they can into Alek Manoah to make sure that this guy comes back great. Because I think the starters that they have right now, these guys are pretty much on their last days. Both Gosman, and Barrios. This guy's been a headache from the day they got him. Like, you never know when this guy's going to give you a good outing. But anyways, buddy, my main reason for calling in was I was listening to your highlight show earlier, and I heard Eric Smith, he was describing Varsho in the outfield making a play, and he said, Varsho is like Velcro in the outfield. And I'm thinking, I think Eric might have just found the perfect nickname for Varsho. Velcro Varsho. I'm telling you, man, I loved watching this guy play. This guy, to me, since Devon White, I think this guy's been the best center fielder that the Blue Jays have had. And it's the thing I love most about this guy's show is that rarely you see if ever, you see this guy embellish any play. Unlike, Kevin Pillar and, like Springer. Springer does a lot of the embellishment too. This guy is just solid. Fundamentally, he's just sound. I just love this guy. And I think that Velcro Varsho nickname is perfect for this kid.
Hey, Clifton, I appreciate the call. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Always nice to hear from you. Velcro Varsho is not a bad nickname. They had Superman, I think, carried Kevin Pillar. It kind of still does, honestly. He's been having a pretty good season out in Los Angeles. Yeah, I guess the Jays will see him tomorrow, I suppose. But the Superman name carried him pretty far, but there haven't been very many catchy nicknames for the Blue Jays recently. So I can get behind Velcro Varsho. I will say, I'm not sure I would say Pilar embellished. I think maybe you mean something different when you say embellished, Clifton, because I feel like embellishing means like you make it look harder than it actually is. And I think the truth is they just make those two guys, Pilar and Springer, and certainly different points in baseball and in the Blue Jays' life as a competitive team, but I think I'm not sure I would say they embellish. I think they just make difficult plays. And in Springer's case, I mean, he's not as fast as he once was. I think he kind of has to be diving around out there. He narrowly missed making another highlight reel grab out there, just kind of near the first base line up in right field there, shallow right field, I suppose. But I think you can like properly rate Pilar's insane feats as a Blue Jay and other teams certainly as well, and certainly Springer's as well, while also giving Varsho his due. I do agree, though, that he does not make a lot of flashy plays, and I think that is a testament to how he approaches the ball. Like, you very rarely see him take a bad route to any fly ball. You very rarely see him get caught, I guess, off guard by balls that, you often see in other teams, like a hot shot to center field, or you're not really sure if the ball is going to drop really quickly or if it's going to travel over your head. You almost never see Varsho get caught off guard by that. So I will say Velcro Varsho sounds about right. It's funny, I think one of the most fun things about Varsho's prowess in center field, really just as a defender, not just in center field, although you can expect him, I'm sure, to see way more time in center field now that Kiermaier's not a Blue Jay anymore, which is, again, to go back to yesterday, it's a good thing for the Gold Glove race, because if he doesn't win a Gold Glove now, like, what are we even doing, right? But one of the things is he makes it look so routine. He makes it look so easy. Like, I would say if you look at many other center fielders on many other ball clubs, I think most of them are really good, obviously. Like, we're talking about the best center fielders in the world who play in Major League Baseball, but I don't know. Like, he makes plays, especially when he's covering a lot of ground in such a short amount of time. He makes it look incredibly easy to do, which I think actually underrates his play to a certain extent, as crazy as that can be to say, because I think Blue Jays fans appropriately rate Varsho, and yet it still feels like he is underrated league-wide because he makes the most, like, hot shot singles or maybe home runs, or especially in when the dimensions of ballparks change in the outfield, like you see in Baltimore and in Fenway Park and even in Yankee Stadium. Like, even if you're just narrowing it to the AL East, the Trop certainly as well has some weird kind of little nooks and crannies to it. Varsho manages to make navigating those places look incredibly easy, and it's really not. So absolutely give the guy some credit. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to, let's stay in Etobicoke, actually. Let's go to Bobby in Etobicoke. Bobby, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. What's on your mind today?
I'm actually here to defend Atkins.
Okay, what's your case? Make your argument, Bobby.
Okay, so I mean, I've been a Jays fan for a long time. 93 was my glory days at 11 years old, and I had 20 years of no baseball, no meaningful games, no nothing. Basically, I loved baseball, so I'd watch a little bit, but then we had a little bit of a flash with AA, and I love it. He did sell the farm. He's the best at his job right now, and I know I wish that we still had AA, but we don't. But then Atkins, he's done a fantastic job in my eyes. He's every signing he's pretty much done great with. Everyone wanted Ryu, and we got him, and that was kind of like the beginning of the seriousness of the Blue Jays at that point. It kind of brought us to the table as like a serious contender and a real person who can actually bring in free agents, because previous to that we couldn't bring in free agents, and everyone wanted George Springer. And we outbid the Mets. We ended up having to sign one extra year for Springer, but we ended up bringing him in, former World Series MVP, again, making us a little bit more serious. We've done the Gausman contract, the Bassitt contract, the Kikuchi contract, the Chapman trade, the Hicks trade. There's been so many incredible moves that's created such an incredibly exciting team for us to watch. We've gotten to see under his watch a one-year deal for a starting pitcher, 1 year, $9 million turn into a Cy Young. We've seen a second baseman break the record for most home runs in a year on a one-year contract. We've seen 3 years in a row a Cy Young winner or a Cy Young finalist. We've seen an MVP finalist. We've seen so much exciting baseball. Dalton Velcro, I don't know if you've ever heard of this kid. Dalton Velcro has been doing a great job. Up against the wall, making plays every night. George Springer making plays every night. It's been so exciting. Now, I do get paid to watch baseball from up in the windows up there, and so I'm a little bit biased, I understand. But it's been really exciting baseball, and we've had meaningful games for 4 years straight, which we didn't for years and years of not having any meaningful baseball. So I'm willing to give Atkins another year. We do need a third baseman and a left fielder, another bat, but I believe he can do it. I think that IKF contract was well worth it. I think that was a wonderful contract on their end. And, yeah, I'm willing to see where he goes with this another year. I don't trust someone we don't know coming in to make new moves. I think he's made good enough moves, and I love the product that's on the field, minus this one particular season where we underperformed.
Hey, Bobby, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. There you go. There's the case for Varsho and Atkins. Russ had made the case, I guess, against them earlier. Look, as the judge here, I will I will make the final call. No, I'm kidding. But I think it's possible to have a nuanced conversation about Shapiro and Atkins in the sense that you're never going to get a GM who only makes bad moves, right? Like, they're never going to, I almost feel like it's impossible. I actually think it's impossible to have a GM who pretty much only makes the worst moves in the world, because then they wouldn't last 9 years, right? Like, I think there are some things that Bobby said were true. Like, I think it's safe to say Atkins won the Barrios trade, for example, and then maybe quote unquote did not win the Moreno trade, depending on how you view Varsho. But then again, Varsho has been phenomenal, as we just spent the last 5 minutes talking about, right? So the bat, certainly not so. The defense, yes. So I don't know. There are a lot of, I think, different nuances to it. But for me, I think despite the fact that there are things you can give some credit to Shapiro and Atkins specifically as the GM will get a lot of the blame for this, or the credit, I suppose, as the guy who has the title of general manager. But I like the Ryu signing. I like the Gosman signing. It looks like a steal, certainly. Like, there are, you can't say that every single move Atkins has done has been poor, but I do think that because it is a results-oriented business, and that because despite a lot of the moves that actually have worked out, they still haven't won a playoff game in X years, and things have regressed from an offensive standpoint and even from a defensive standpoint, and the farm system is what it is, and you have to trade all these guys at the deadline to even get, to jump 2 to 3 spots in overall farm system rankings. And I know you take those rankings with a grain of salt. It's like, for all of those reasons, I think it's time to move on. I personally don't have any animosity. I know you guys probably do, but I personally don't have any animosity towards him. But I think it's like a simple math equation for me. If it's a results-oriented business and you're not getting results from a playoff wins perspective, I think it's just time to give someone else a chance at righting the ship to a certain extent. Bobby is right in that when you look at the entire existence of the Blue Jays, going back to the late 70s, right, as a franchise, you have the years where they were winning the World Series, you have the years from 2015 and 2016, and then you have now. Like, those are essentially the 3 most successful chunks of time from a regular season perspective in the history of this franchise. So that they'll always, I guess, have that to a certain extent. But at the same time, if it doesn't culminate in any kind of playoff success, I think it's got to mean someone else has how to get a turn. No? That's the way I look at it. I wonder if you guys view it differently, because I think ultimately the goal is to win the World Series. Now, it's incredibly difficult to win the World Series. I'm not sure you can say, well, if we don't win the World Series every single year, every year is viewed as a failure. I'm not sure I'd go quite that far, because there is so much pure chaos and randomness that exists in playoffs and just in baseball in particular. But if you're going into the playoffs and you're not winning a single game, that's when the worm turns for me. Like, I honestly, if they had gone to the ALCS or even made it a competitive ALDS, I might feel differently. Honestly, I might say, yeah, sure, give it one more year, give it one more chance. But if you're at where you're at now, and you've made multiple managerial changes, you've made all these trades, all these signings, you spent all this money, and it's been all this time, and you've not gotten a single playoff win. That's how I draw the line in terms of success. Again, if your team's not winning the Stanley Cup every year, or the Super Bowl every single year, or the Larry O.B., I don't think that's necessarily a failure. Look at the Raptors, right? I love bringing up the Raptors because they won a championship after years of just almost getting there. And they made a massive change, and then they did get there. Now, that was a huge gamble, but obviously the Kawhi trade. But they did eventually give someone else a shot. It wasn't a Masai thing, but they did. They get, and I don't know, maybe they would have won the Larry O'B had they not fired Dwayne Casey and gone to Nick Nurse. But they did make a change after Dwayne Casey was the head coach for I don't know how many years, but a pretty long time. I think when you do the same thing over and over and over again, and you get no results in the playoffs, that has got to be where the line is for me. Again, I don't think that necessarily means that every single thing a GM does has to be bad for you to can him or to get mad about it. But and again, there are things that Atkins did well, even. I mean, Blair said this many times. You got to give him at least some credit for building a rotation that had, at least for a chunk of time when they were all performing well, Gosman, Barrios, Bassitt, Manoah, Ryu was in there at one point, Robbie Ray, who Bobby gave credit to. Like, you got to talk a little bit about that. But ultimately, if it's all for naught, then and you keep doing the same thing, that's kind of where I draw the line. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to Eddie in Fort Erie. Eddie, what's up? What's on your mind?
Not much, show. First of all, thanks for taking my call as always.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Well, I wanted to talk about something that you posted on X about the Olympics and how you want the MLB players to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And you know what? I am so with you. I would love to see that happen. I mean, if the NHL can do it, and if the NBA allows their players to go over there, we sure as heck should let the major leaguers go to the Olympics, because you've seen how successful the World Baseball Classic has become, and everybody gets into it. But even though, it's during spring training, it's very hard to get some of the best players there. There's a lot of hurdles to cross. And, I would love to see it as well. But you know what? There's a lot of things I'm wondering what they would do if that were to happen. Like, is it a one-time deal, meaning like only in Los Angeles for the next one? Because, it's in North America, it's closer. They don't have to go to like Europe for extra travel.
Right.
Or will they, for example, shrink the amount of games from like 162 to like 150, or don't have the All-Star game just like they did in the NHL? I think it was like 2006 or whatever it was when they didn't have an All-Star game because of the Olympics. Could they do that? I mean, I don't know, but hopefully if they find a way to get Major League Baseball players into the Olympics, you better believe I'll be watching for sure, man, because that's what the Olympics are. They want to show the very best, and Major League Baseball has the best, and the World Baseball Classic's been really good. And you know what, Show? It's a good thing that there is a World Baseball Classic coming up 2 years before the next Summer Olympics, so maybe that'll get noticed for them to go for the summer ones in Los Angeles,
Hey, Eddie, appreciate the call as always, man. I love talking about the Olympics. So 2 points you brought up I actually hadn't considered. Certainly the last one there about the World Baseball Classic kind of being like I don't know, you want to call it an audition. I don't know if that's the right word, but certainly an extended look at what rosters could be. Because, I mean, if you're trying to make a Team Canada, for example, now, I feel like that's like, I don't know if it's like a losing proposition necessarily, but I feel like it'd look a lot different in 4 years. I mean, could Dante Nori and Emilian Pitre be on Team Canada in 4 years? Probably. Will they play in Major League Baseball this year? Probably not, right? So I think that is a tough thing to do. I know that's not what Eddie was asking, but I do think the World Baseball Classic in 2 years could provide some further clarity on who could go to a Summer Olympics. Obviously, right now, and because I had tweeted yesterday that I want to see, we just got to see the NBA players, a variety of them, WNBA players as well, certainly earlier today, do their thing at the Olympics. We're going to get the NHL players back at 2026. I cannot wait for the NHL players going back. Like, some of my core hockey memories, beyond being disappointed by the Toronto Maple Leafs for most of my life, have been Olympic Team Canada hockey, like the golden goal, and then Canada just snuffing the life out of Sweden the next year, essentially. Like, I'll never forget those, right? And I think there's a whole generation of hockey fans out there who just essentially did not get to experience that. So I'm very happy they're going to get to experience that, but now that they solved that problem, the NHL and Bettman and the owners and the Players Association, they all came together and they solved that problem. Great. now the MLB and the Players Association and Rob Manfred, these guys all need to do the same thing, personally. And I think the World Baseball Classic will be telling, because it'll be interesting to see what kind of buy-in or what kind of momentum kind of snowballs between now and 2 years from now. And then from there to another 2 years. I really hope it does happen. I think there's enough competition across the board, just worldwide, that would probably get you a pretty good Olympic tournament, right? It'd be interesting to see what qualifying looks like for the Olympics. But, I mean, USA and Canada, certainly, you can put those aside. Obviously, they would have enough players to have a whole team. But, I mean, the Dominican would probably be pretty heavily favored. Japan would probably be very, very good. Korea, Cuba, Mexico, Venezuela. Like, there are a lot of teams, I think, where you can have a sterling tournament with a lot of players that people know, essentially. And maybe even, who knows, in 4 years, maybe players that we haven't even heard of yet, right? So I would love that. Also, I liked Eddie's suggestion of, and again, the NHL has done this before, but I kind of forgot, about eliminating the All-Star break and just making that the Olympic break. I kind of like that idea. I mean, it would, I suppose, have to work a little bit with the like the CEO of the games, like the actual people who run the Olympic Games in Los Angeles. You'd have to work with them a little bit, the schedule makers for Major League Baseball. I don't think they'd ever cut down on 162 games. Like, I think it would take the next CBA negotiations, which I think are in a couple of years, to cut down on that. And of course, when it comes to the CBA being negotiated, I do wonder how much momentum Olympic Games, the participation of MLB players in the Olympic Games would have in negotiating a CBA, but you got to think at least some. But then again, I mean, it would also probably take more star players to lend their voices. Like, I think the biggest player I've heard talk about this at all is Bryce Harper. I've said this a couple times, but he was the guy, I think, a couple years ago, who I think he actually referenced both the NHL and the NBA in terms of, oh, look at these guys. They get their guys to go back to the Olympics. We want that. I want that for us. And he says he wants to suit up for Team USA. Would Bryce Harper be the obvious choice to play, like, first base, let's say, for Team USA in 4 years? I don't know. But I do think that you probably need some more star players putting some pressure on the league. I just remember every time Connor McDavid was asked about it, essentially, in the last, 3 seasons, it's just, yeah, I want to see it. I want to participate. Best on best. Give it to me. So I think you probably need the Aaron Judges of the world and the Shoheis of the world to lend their voices to make sure the commissioner knows it wants to happen. But, gosh, I would kill for MLB players at the Olympics. Baseball also just should always be at the Olympics. Can I just say, as a separate aside, it was not the Paris Olympics this year. It's kind of there's a certain amount of leeway, as far as I understand it, with Olympic Games and who gets which sports get chosen, which is why breakdancing was at the Olympics. Shout out to Canadian Phil Wizard. Let's go, first ever b-boy gold medal in that sport ever in history, which is pretty cool. But that's why that sport was at Paris and baseball was not, and why baseball and softball will be in Los Angeles because America loves that stuff, and why breaking, I believe, will not be, right? So anyways, I find that conversation very interesting. 416-870 0590 1-888-666 0590 star 590 on your cell. Those are the numbers to call. 590 name and location. That's the People's Text line. We're going to step aside, take a quick break. When we come back, hear from John Schneider, hear from Chris Bassitt, and go back to the text line, back to the phones as well. You're listening to Blue Jays Talk. Show Adley with you on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
So, you want to be a Looney Dogger, eh? Every Tuesday Blue Jays home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Grab $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around Rogers Center. Plus, stop by the Schneider's Porch, your hot dog headquarters. The destination for a one-of-a-kind hot dog experience with excellent ballpark views. So, whether you're the relish ringleader or seventh inning snacker, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. Don't miss out on this delicious deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're twomeninatruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
This summer, catch the excitement of Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. From pregame to postgame, Blue Jays Central breaks down what went down and why. When the action heats up on the field, Sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet app take you deeper inside the game. Headlines, scores, highlights, and more.
It is way out of here.
Watch or stream on Sportsnet or listen to every game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. All summer, only one source brings you closer to the action. Sportsnet, home of the Blue Jays.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know your vehicle rusts faster in warm weather? Protect your vehicle today. For a special summer offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Centre. Visit timbermart.ca.
Hey, this is Chad Green. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
I was brought up in the front row, that fire and brimstone.
The 22-game hit streak for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which ends at 22 games after today. You're listening to Jays Talk here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Show Ali with you for another 10-15 minutes or so. And shoot me a text, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. You can also give me a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-660-590, star 590 on your cell. And we'll go to the phones momentarily. Before we do, just on Vladdy, yeah, tough way for the 22-game hit streak to end, right? Like the last two ABs, inning-ending double play balls early in the count both times when he's swinging the bat. The last of which came in the 8th inning and killed what looked like a potential rally. Look, I'm not here to throw shade on Vladdy by any means, but because he's been so good for so long, right? I mean, gosh, he's been awesome. I don't think one game like today is going to necessarily change anyone's minds either way, right? Like you either likely already felt he should get, like me, that he should get $300 million at like a minimum, at a floor, as Passon said to Anderson Barker the other day, or you already felt that he should not be the guy they spend on a ton. So, yeah, I'm guessing no one's minds were heavily swayed either way. And you know what? It's probably for the best because one game probably shouldn't be the deciding factor anyways. But 590-590, name and location, that's a text line. We'll go there in a sec. We were talking about Bassitt actually earlier, and he did also just finish his media availability. Bassitt's usually pretty good for an interesting comment or two, especially when he does not pitch particularly well. So let's hear what the man of the hour, and perhaps not so great a way, had to say. Here's Chris Bassitt after today's 8-4 loss.
Roof being closed. Completely different than roof being open. Wasn't really ready for it. My worst sinkers with the roof open around 16, best sinkers around 22. Today, worst sinkers were 13, best sinkers were 15. So I had to completely change my mechanics to kind of get the movement I wanted.
You've obviously pitched indoors in the past. What are the adjustments that have worked for you?
Yeah, this is just a different one. Obviously, indoors is indoors, but this is it's different.
Were you able to change anything through those 2, 3, 4 innings?
Yeah, I just lowered my arm slot. Lowering my arm slot creates more movement, less command. But, yeah, I mean, when you're expecting 18 horizontal movement, you're getting 13. It's not really that good.
Chris, was there anything disruptive about the ball off the foot and the play at first base?
No.
Oh, there you go. Pretty abrupt answer from Bassitt. So he was talking at the end there about the very bizarre decision from Horwitz to kind of flip the ball behind his back. But interesting to hear Bassitt talk about the roof being closed, which again was not necessarily known for today because the rain kind of came in at the last moment. The roof is still closed. It was been closed all day. But 45% of his pitches he threw today were sinkers. He threw 39%, and he had a whiff rate of 0, unfortunately. I mean, we know he doesn't throw pitches, generally speaking, very hard. The thing maxed out at 93.5, averaged about 91.9 miles an hour. But by far the pitch he threw the most today, as he kind of usually does. Like the cutter, 14 pitches he threw that. He threw 16 curves, and then everything else was below in single digits, right? 5 sweepers, 5 sliders, 4 changes, 2 splitters, and one 4-seam fastball, which again he doesn't throw very often, as we know. But he managed to find it. It's too bad he couldn't kind of change some of that on the fly, but I guess he did need to go talk to Pete Walker in between. And Pete Walker did go out in that first inning to have the chat with Bassitt, but a not so great start for him. But we'll see if he can bounce back, and we'll see where he next plays, if it's indoors, if it's outdoors. I guess it does. I suppose today, even with the day off on Thursday, lines up for him to play outdoors at Wrigley on the next weekend. So I guess we'll see if Bassitt does bounce back next weekend. All right, let's go to the phones. 590, name and location. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Those are the numbers to call. Let's see here. There was a text here from Andrew in Muskoka, because I was talking earlier about where do you draw the line? Like, where do you draw the line for you as to whether or not, like, how you define failure? Let's put it that way. Like, where you draw the line as to how much is enough, essentially, with the front office. And I said, I mean, can it be playoff success versus regular season success? How much of it you need in one versus the other for someone to keep their jobs? And Andrew Muskoka says, for me, it's, does your team look like it can compete and can compete consistently? The Jays and this core have failed to show they can. For that matter, neither can the Leafs. Oof, that's rough, Andrew. That's tough. With hockey season right around the corner, that's tough. Here's the difference, though. Here's I know people hate talking about hockey and like specifically the Leafs, which, you know what, fair. I say this as someone who grew up a Leafs fan, fair. But at least the Leafs give you consistent results in the regular season in terms of being super entertaining. Like the last couple of regular seasons prior to this year, while they did kind of reach around the same amount of wins in terms of win totals in the last like 21, 22, 23, like roughly, I would say, the difference in how you got to that number was wild. Like it varied in such an insane way. Almost it felt like you're watching multiple different teams every year. Like this 2021 where they're blasting baseballs every single game and the bullpen can't hold it down. Well, they go and fix that in 2022. The offense takes a step back. And then they take a step back even further in 2023, and then even further in 2024. I just feel like we've seen a whole variety of different kinds of Blue Jays teams year over year over year over year. Whereas actually for the Leafs, they've been pretty consistent. They just choke in the playoffs every single year, right? Like that's almost like a whole different conversation, because if this team was winning, it's like if the Jays were winning like 100 games or 95 to 100 games and choking in the playoffs, I feel like we'd view it a teensy bit differently if they were still hitting tons of home runs and getting deep into games, and the bullpen was still closing it out, and then that just all went away in the playoffs. But it's just been kind of the very very samey throughout the entirety of the last like 2.5 seasons, including this year, right? So I would say that's the difference for me. I see here Stephen Williams like BC. Vladdy's hit streak was incredible, but proves we need a number 2. Who other than Soto could be available to help carry the team? Well, you talk about a couple guys. I mean, Rooker I'll leave out of it just because Rooker is not a free agent. But, I mean, Anthony Santander and Teoscar Hernandez and Willie Adames and who's a free agent? Is Alex Bregman a free agent? Like, these are guys who I'm not sure if they are the answers by any means, because there have been countless examples over many different sports where you spend $1 bazillion on a guy only for him to disappoint you, essentially. So I'm not saying that any one or two of them would be a solution, but they would probably be an upgrade over what they're having to essentially out of necessity trot out on a day-to-day basis. You can't tell me that you'd rather see Santander in left than Davis Schneider and Alex Bregman at third base over, I mean, today was Luis De Los Santos, but like over Ernie Clement, for example, right? That would assuredly help this team. Now, would it make them contenders? I don't know, right? Because you also need them to spend money on a starter and spend money on the entirety of the bullpen, essentially. Now, I'm not going to give them a pass on the bullpen, but the bullpen is something you can, I think, fix on the fly, and that every team, no matter how good you are, will always be looking for more bullpen pitching. But I do think that is that's where you got to start at the very least when it comes to guys not named Juan Soto from a free agency basis. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666 0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to Oshawa. Let's chat with Chris in Oshawa. Chris, what's on your mind? Welcome to Jays Talk. Chris, you there?
Hey, how you doing? I
here, man.
thought I was going to sound pretty smart there using the names Santander and Hernandez. But the point was, if you can't bring in two, and I believe you're playing under 500 baseball with the heater that Vladdy's on, so if you can't win with him doing what he's doing, is it even worth the probably 33 to 35 million it's going to take a year to sign him, which someone else will probably give him? Or does it actually make more sense to turn him around for the haul that you can get, probably with Gosman and Bassitt at next year's trade deadline and whatever you get for Bo, just from a pure winning standpoint? Or do we run into a Carlos Delgado situation where you're just tuning in to see if Vladdy can hit moonshots in the dome, and that's why we're watching the game? Thanks.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Chris. But look, I'll say this. I said this before about Vladdy. I'm not sure he's going to be the guy he was over 22 games forever, mainly because, like, how many players are that, right? Even, like, the best players in the history of baseball don't do that for, like, an entire season, unless you're, like, Ted Williams or something, right? So I will say, even if he cools off just a little bit, you hope that he is somewhere near what he has been for the vast majority of the season, and that's still probably worth $300 million. But I only bring it up because I think it's still, even if you can't get the Santander's a free agency, the Bregman's a free agency, the Teoscar Hernandez is a free agency, you're still better off having Vladdy than no. Like, there's a text here from Mike in Victoria. Mike, nice to hear from you as always. Vladdy on fire with no pressure. I'm in Barker's camp, not sure in a clutch situation like last 2 days. Jury's still out for me. And look, that's fair. That is fair. But at the same time, I think you'd rather have him than not have him. Like, if you believe that Bo is, like, on his way out because he doesn't want to be here long term, maybe that is the case. Maybe it's not the case. But if you can pick on one guy that I think demonstrates the teams, even if the front office is not the same in the next couple of years, so if you want to pick on one guy, I think, to demonstrate to other free agents that you're a serious team, then I think you almost have to sign Vladdy. Right? And I've said this before, but again, Vladdy's cachet as a player means so much more to the Blue Jays than it does to, I think, literally any other team. Like, it means less to the Yankees, it means less to the Mariners, it means less to the Mets, it means less to, I don't know, any other team that would offer him $400 million or whatever it would be if he were to hit free agency. Because you got to imagine the bill will be higher if they actually let him walk to free agency, and some other team will be willing to overpay just to get him to walk away from the Blue Jays, right? So I think even if you can't get premier bats to surround him with, vis-a-vis Chris's point, Steven's point on the text line, I still think you got to sign the guy. Like, you got, otherwise you're left with what? Like, who is the next most watchable player on this team? Obviously today notwithstanding, but after Vladdy, who is it? Honestly, I don't know what the answer to that question is personally. Is it Dalton Varsho? I'm looking at the lineup here. Is it Spencer Horwitz? Is it George Springer? Like, is it any of these guys? I would respectfully say no. So I think you have to. If you're the Blue Jays, you essentially have to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to a long-term contract. Let's go back to the text line before we go and we say goodbye. I see here Jen in Toronto. Jen says, good run by Vlad, but this team is uninspiring. That's fair. She also says, so glad the Olympics were on. That is true. I have not gotten a chance to watch the closing ceremony, so I'll have to watch the YouTube highlights when I get home. Jen also says, love Varsho Gold Glove talk, but Merrill of Padres hits. You know what? That's fair. That is fair, but thankfully we do not have to compare Dalton Varsho to every potential Gold Glove center fielder in Major League Baseball. We only have to compare him to the ones in the American League. Because you're right, I don't think Varsho is better as an entire baseball player, offense and defense together, than literally every other center fielder in baseball. I do think he's the best defensive outfielder in baseball, including the National League. But you're right, Jackson Merrill with the Padres, having a great rookie season, is absolutely phenomenal to watch, a lot of fun to watch. But thankfully, we don't have to compare him, Varsho, to Merrill because they are in different leagues. But if they ever do change that, then I think you'll be in trouble, because there are some guys who I think put it all together, right? Like, they have the glove and the bat, but at least from a Gold Glove perspective, Varsho, I think, is solidified in there. I see one from Harrison in Guelph. Out of all the young guys on the team right now, which guy do you think has the best chance to make a winning impact on the Jays team in the future? Love the show. Thank you, Harrison. Can I still pick Spencer Horwitz? He's not that young, but I mean, I'd probably pick him to give the Jays a better chance over Ernie Clement. They're roughly the same age, but over Kirk, over Davis Schneider. You look at the guys on the team right now, even probably over Barger, Lopervito, Jimenez. Like, I'm not sure. I think the jury's still out, to borrow Mike's phrase, on a lot of those guys from a will they be on the team in 2025 perspective. I really do believe that. So if that's the case, then you kind of have to look at Spencer Horwitz. But I appreciate all the text